There are four of us here. Who's online? Anyone?
Whoever's there is muted. Let me see.
We need to figure out, because instead of having a phone number, it's coming up as caller number 2 instead of a phone number, so.
There we go.
Hello, this is Greg Allen. I'm present.
Greg. Hey, all right.
Mark is
So there,
planning on attending via Zoom as well, but he has not seemed to connect yet.
Okay, we're good when you guys want to start.
Thank you.
okay, we're about 5 minutes before our scheduled first interview. Although I don't see the interviewee
I don't either.
here online, should be.
Well, we need more minutes. So we have to approve the minutes from the March 31st meeting.
Oh, was I supposed to have that in my packet?
There was a second packet that was sent out to you guys, so I sent you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Go get them.
I can grab them real quick.
Okay,
Yeah, so I want to get the packet information as soon as possible and then
okay, gotcha. Sorry about that. Does anybody know if Tracy's in town or is she calling in?
Oh, no. Calling is the plan.
Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of background
Good.
noise though.
All right, let me see if I can fix that.
So, and one of the other things I wanted to ask you guys, because I knew we had a few minutes, was I was hoping that we could kind of change the first page of the application where it asks for contact information. The way it's written is all the information is about the nonprofit, not about the person putting on the event.
Yeah.
So when I try to call people,
Oh,
I have some hard times because I get the nonprofit who may not be that person doing the event. So I'm hoping I'll do some language up when we go to do this next time and send it to you guys to see like if we can have the nonprofit and then the contact person and kind of separate it out a little.
yeah, I agree. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So that was,
Other thing we have in that application is a lot of financial information about the nonprofit, but not necessarily about the event separated out.
yeah.
And I don't know if that's a consideration to look at. We look at budgets, but as a standalone event, ongoing summary would be good.
That would be helpful.
I'm putting a note in here in our minutes so that way when it comes time, we can start going through and maybe make some revisions and, because I think when we make revisions to the application, we have to involve Ashley in that as well.
Sure.
So we'll get that going with enough time for our next cycle.
Does anybody know why Chamber was late with their applications?
Not only the chamber, one of the gallery group applications was late.
As well.
The chamber came in at 5:14, gallery group at 5:10.
It was the right day, just it was after 5.
The correct date,
There's my,
beyond the official cutoff.
Mike,
I have a question. When is the meeting that we have to disclose conflicts? Is that when we are granting the awards?
I think it's when we discuss that, not now. Because is that the one that Ashley attends?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought, yeah.
When I was asked to make a determination if the chamber applications and the one for the Stormy Weather Arts Festival should be considered, generally I punted. I wanted that information to be known to the committee to be able to discuss that because we were talking an application 10 minutes late and one 14 minutes late. And as a lame duck committee chair, not a determination I felt that I wanted to make.
So we scheduled both of them, everybody for interviews no matter what.
Right.
So that way,
Sure.
so the chamber
Yes.
scheduled for interviews.
Yeah, yeah.
The other late one.
So Tracy's still not with us, right? So, so I'm noticing when we talked about the food pantry, it said, does anyone know who Oregon Coast Creative is? That's the WOW people were using them. So I noticed that they didn't submit anything for the Cannon Beach Magazine. Did we put the RFP out to them? Do you know?
I don't.
Hmm.
Not them.
And maybe they're not publishers, and so maybe they wouldn't be interested in that. I just remember that their stuff was kind of impressive.
We can probably ask that question of them, but perhaps we should focus on the minutes.
See, well, no, who put the
Sorry.
RFP out? You or Jim? Okay, so we'd have to ask Jim.
Hello there.
Hello, we're actually reading minutes, checking up on the minutes from the prior meeting to see if we can accept them or revise them.
And if we need more time, we can always do that. We do have a chunk of time between applicants today. So if when Tracy gets on, we can always go back to minutes.
Do you want to resolve that issue about the chamber applications being late? I know I'm one of the few non-chamber members or officers here.
After tomorrow.
It should come up, yeah. We need to make a determination as to what to do with those. You have some input, Mike?
Yeah, I think I think we should allow it. I mean, I think it's, you know, kind of small potatoes and it would be a huge impact to the chamber to not allow them to, you know, participate this year, given the fact that, you know, it's a big deal. So I think we should formally vote to waive the, you know, the late application period.
So just so you know, I did email Ashley to let her know about the situation. So
With the lateness?
yeah,
Okay,
so I did email her. I didn't ask her for a response. I just said, FYI, this is what happened. They are doing interviews, but we are going to be talking about recommendations on the 20th, I think was the date, but I did make sure she was aware of it. So in case we had questions for her.
So for clarification, it's the chamber and the gallery group have one too.
yes.
Correct.
Just one of the gallery
Right,
groups, yeah.
right. Not all of them, but just one of them.
Yes, but all four of the chambers were.
Yeah. And I also feel like 15 minutes versus if something was 3 days late,
Holidays.
you know, to me, it's like, really? 3 days late or something like that, but 15 minutes. I mean, you could run into some bad traffic. And you could be 15 minutes late.
I agree with that, but I also, I look at it from, was anybody else put out because of it? So was there somebody that is not being able to participate because they were late too?
Right, yeah.
And there's, that we know of, nobody is.
Yep, that's a good point.
The other question that comes up with any lateness is, was this adequately considered, or is it just a thrown together, try to sneak it in at the last second? That's something we can make a judgment about when we view the individual items to determine if we were to grant whatever portion we might determine to grant. So there's a chance to remind people to be on time and look at whether or not there's a consideration of the amount they would receive based on how thorough the application or
Or
how
not.
cavalier that application might be.
I think that we.
Sounds logical.
consider in the award process,
Mhm.
the thoroughness of the application, right?
True. Yeah.
So, I mean, we can respond to a thorough or a inadequate application in a couple of different ways. One, maybe accepting it or not accepting it, or two, the award size can,
And we did that in the past with the first run of the comedy thing,
Sure.
remember?
sure,
So,
or the film festival.
or, oh, yeah, right. I've forgotten all about that
I
one.
think that, I don't know how I feel about reviewing the completeness of the packet at accept or don't accept time. You know, I don't know. I think to me, we look at that issue at award time. I don't know. That's my thought on that. And that we kind of look at the tardiness, 14 minutes, 10 minutes, as in, does it put anybody out?
You're
Or
right.
does it not put anybody out? If it doesn't, but 3 days, for example, that's a different thing.
It is a
You
different,
kind of have to ask yourself, what's the spirit of the deadline?
Right.
And obviously you have to have a deadline, but if it's 10 minutes late, does it hurt anybody? If people are put out, certainly,
Right.
but
This was also the first year we did email applications and they were all emailed. These were ones that were emailed in. So I don't know if that, we put in the application that the time received is considered basically the time that it comes into my email.
yeah.
But if you're sending 4 at once, it could have slowed down the process to get there, which I don't know if that's
Good point.
or not, but
No,
that's a good, we tried this.
That's a good point. And it's not like you took at 5:01 and started copying all this stuff.
I waited till 5:02. No, I'm just kidding.
and especially when some of these, I can't remember which one, but a couple were 50 meg attachments.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And so depending on what your connection rate and stuff, that could take 5-10 minutes to fully process.
But to Mike's original comment, I would say I would support accepting that.
I would too.
I would too.
I'm in that camp, but I'm also involved with a group that is one of the guilty parties.
Is that something that we need to vote on?
that would be an Ashley question because I'm not sure of that. If what I can do is email Ashley and just say, hey, how do we handle these? Is this something we can vote on? Because this meeting is about the interviews anyways.
Right.
We'll go through the interviews and then we can ask Ashley that question. And actually, since we're here, I can just shoot her an email now.
Okay,
It makes
She may
sense that we would
reply.
need to vote on it
I would think so.
as just to
To official.
to make it official.
Yeah.
Would someone care to put forward a motion?
I will make a motion that we agree to accept the 5 late applications we received, both from the Chamber and the Cannon Beach Gallery Group. Given what we've discussed about connection times and same day, 15 minutes versus something else. This is not being very official, sorry. I agree. I think I'm putting a motion forward that we accept the late applications, given the issues that we discussed prior to this,
Okay.
if that can be
Is there?
Robert's Rules of Order.
I will second that motion.
Okay, I think we've discussed this. If there's no further discussion, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I,
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, we are on board.
And I think, did Tracy attach?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, she is, okay.
Good.
All right.
All right. Our first victim is here.
Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, Tracy, we can. Welcome.
Oh,
She's got robot voice.
uh-oh.
Thanks. I have earphones in and we're driving, so
Oh, that works perfectly.
hopefully,
Okay.
I'm not driving, obviously.
Oh, was about to ask that question.
Hope you're not driving.
Yes.
So can you give us a basic rundown of how you think Get Lit can happen this year? We're looking at your budget and application form.
next year.
Yeah, so I basically kind of looked at the last 2 years. Last year we came in lower numbers because we thought we were just going to do a repeat. But I don't think for 2022 it's just going to be a change of dates. I think there's going to be maybe some different authors because of the scheduling. Some of our other authors might not be able to make it. We might look at adding, a couple authors. We're just not sure. We weren't able to meet, unfortunately, before the application was due. And then I also, I just want to make sure that I'm paying a good honorarium. So I bumped that. And I also bumped my fees up a bit too. So the budget's kind of the same, except for, like I said, as the years prior, but for this year. And then as far as COVID, I feel right now, I could tell you what exactly I'm going to do, but because the rules sort of change, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna have to require proof of vaccination or masks will still be required. But I plan to, always follow and make sure that I understand and I'm up to date so that we can be as safe as possible. But as far as venues and those kind of things, I still think we'll be okay. And if we need to socially distance those tables or even at the coaster, we should still be able to with our numbers.
We note your date of April of next year, next spring, and also recognize that the funds you received for this last year, that for the event that did not occur, were graciously and quickly returned to the city. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That the unused funds came back to the city.
Yeah. Yeah, we tried to do that as quickly as possible once we still, knew that things were just not quite ready. I didn't want to wait, and be further along in that planning process and then get shut down. So we just made the decision early.
So Tracy, we're all really familiar with your event and kind of the schedule of activities and the venues. Do you expect it to be similar, or are you planning any changes in your event?
I expect it to be pretty similar. The only thing that may change is the Friday night events, because this would be small venues, but I don't want to completely eliminate that. So I'm, kind of looking at maybe if there's an opportunity to have a couple more venues, that way the numbers could disperse and, we could have limited amounts. But
right.
I haven't really, like I said, the committee hasn't met yet. So I don't have any big changes to the schedule, except I do understand that some of the authors may not be available. So Terry is working on that. And so that might be something else. But if all of the authors do end up available, then there might be a chance that we would be able to, maybe add an author, or, we might have more authors than what we've had in the past. And it might look like more like a panel then with several authors. So that's how we would work it into the time frame.
Okay. I do like the idea of more venues, because that just, it does two things. One, it brings more, it brings people to more locations, various locations, and to smaller groups. So I think that I do like that concept of more venues for a Friday night.
Okay, yep.
Would you ever consider an author that has a quilting series?
Yeah.
I know somebody, if
Okay.
that would help.
Yes, Julie, that would be great. We're always looking for something for that Friday night thing, too. So,
her name is Marie Bostwick, and she has a series of maybe 12, 13 books that are all quilting related.
okay.
And that would, that'd bring a bunch of quilters into town. So that would be wonderful. I can contact her and see if she'd be willing to come down.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Like we had the wine author
Yeah.
in Seattle come down, and it was very well received.
Yeah.
We were packed.
Is there,
That isn't necessarily great, but right now.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, we had a lot of.
Okay, I'll just now it occurred to me.
Right.
How many years have
Is
you been
there
doing this? And it just occurred to me.
This 2021 would have been our 10th year.
Oh, God. Oh, well.
Julie's moving slowly.
I'm moving a little slow, apparently.
Mike,
That's a great idea.
did you have a comment, Mike?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Is there, would the quilt have something to do with murder? I mean, would there be,
No.
a body
No.
quilt? Just to juice it up?
No, hers are mostly romance-based, not murder.
Oh, dear.
Sorry.
I have a comment on Tracy's estimate of room nights. She's saying our goal for this event is 100 total room nights. And I think she's shooting low there, because I think if people are coming to town on Friday night and staying, Friday and Saturday night, that would be 200. If there were 100 attendees, that would be 200 room nights.
True.
She says.
I could,
A lot of local attendees.
There
yeah,
are. True.
But I agree with Mike. I think the number's low, but I do know that there are a lot of local attendees.
yeah, I work as hard as I can to capture where everyone's staying, just because, I know that's important. And so we also, I guess it would be included. Yeah, it's included when we have the rental houses too. So yeah, I mean, I could think that might go up a bit. I'm hoping it does, actually. I really do.
Oh, bizarre.
Just for example, my niece flew up from Sacramento, twice to attend, but of course she stayed with us, so. Not a room night, although she did leave some nice wine behind.
This is Greg. I have a question.
Yeah, yes, Greg, please.
Yes, I was reading the criteria here. The 2018, 2019, there was a 60+ room bookings in the matrix that we have in the paragraph here. Why are you assuming, with everything that's going on in the COVID, are you assuming that we're going to have more heads in beds, or maybe less because of what's happened, this pandemic?
Is that a question for me or for Tracy?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I feel like, just talking with the hotels, they are experiencing lots of people coming and staying. So I see it increasing. I don't think the pandemic has stopped a lot of people now that we've been opening back up, but I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I was just kind of wondering where you're getting the data, your metrics. Also,
for my metrics?
yeah.
Well, I don't really have any data for 2 years, so it just totally dropped. So it was kind of weird. And then, yeah, maybe that 60 was the number I had in the past. I don't know, because there are a lot of locals.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, what main headliners, like authors have you had there? Have you thought about bringing in some big headliners? I mean, what have we had in the past?
I don't have it off the top of my head. They're listed, but some of our big headliners are like Brian Doyle, Jess Walters, Mary Jane Fowler, I think was her last name. Yeah, we've had some really amazing authors. Willie Blotton, Evison,
Ursula.
yeah.
Terry's
So
no
you also
slouch.
have the big signing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Terry,
Yeah,
Terry,
and Terry Brooks. Yeah.
I have a question for
You also, one last question. You mentioned you've got 20 new subscribers. How many do you have in your marketing plan? I mean, how many subscribers do you currently have?
Over 100. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but it slowed down obviously right when COVID kind of hit.
Right.
And so, just because I didn't have anything up really that was completely new, because that's where they're subscribing from, is from our website. So that's how I know we're getting hits there.
Okay. All right. I don't
Yeah.
have any further questions. Thank you.
I have a question for Greg Swedenberg about this weekend. Do we know if you guys have higher, do you have more people at the hotel during Get Lit weekend than the weekend before or after it? Does it drive people in? Because I know like Savor is always packed, right? Savor, you're full. I'm just wondering how Get Lit.
I mean, I can only go from my example and my experience of it, but I don't think it really moves it like a Savor does. You don't have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people.
Right.
There's definitely, an extra 100, 200 room nights does, create less opportunity. And so that drives rates. And so we're less opportunity for rooms to be available.
Right.
But in the first week of April, it depends. I'd have to look at a Washington spring break. It's a lot of times if it falls on Washington or Portland spring break, Oregon's going to be in March, but that first week is usually Washington and or the Idaho area, and that makes some
It
changes.
would be between the Vancouver area and the Seattle area. That weekend will be between the two,
Okay.
which could be good or bad. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then since May 27th to 2020, it's just been nuts.
Right.
So
it's hard to tell if there's lift from Get Lit because you're in spring break.
yeah.
Okay.
In that time.
And the tough part is that they've had to move their dates around so much. It's not like it's always the
Right.
something weekend. They've been jerked around by places.
Right.
So,
So attendees have to follow them.
yeah, they have to really follow.
But
Yeah, one thing that we do that is helpful for us to track is that, I do ask where they stay. And I agree with Greg. It's not anything that's really, it might be 5 nights or something. It's not huge for him. But he always does give us a great rate. And so I'm able to advertise, his hotel and Hallmark and other people that give us a good rate or, and it's a 2-night minimum usually. But I hope that helps us a little bit, definitely, because people are looking for rooms and, we're able to kind of drive them into those locations, but.
And is there any way to ask your ticketed participants if they visit Cannon Beach at other times of the year? Because like one of the things you do, you target some advertising through shelf awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure that leaves some kind of a residual buzz behind of people who, start getting familiar with the name of Cannon Beach. And I don't know that we're ever going to be able to know what secondary impacts these events have or not. But that the question just popped up in my mind. Do they visit Cannon Beach at other times, the same participants?
Yeah, I can ask that. I mean, I know we have one book club who they started coming from Arizona, and the only reason they come is because of Get Lit, but maybe they started, I don't know, coming at different times. I'm not sure.
I mean, that's a very good point, but it's they tell 2 friends and they tell 2 friends. There's just no way to get all of that. But it's usually if it's a good event and a city and the town wasn't a horrible place to visit, it would either be weather or parking situation, they're going to have a positive experience and tell 2 friends and
Yeah,
the ripple effect.
that'd be pretty much true of everything that happens in town though.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Cool. Well, Tracy,
Yeah.
thank you.
I have a question
Yeah.
for the board. This is Greg.
Yes, Greg.
Shouldn't we have a list of criteria that we should have stock to hand out to all the applicants for questions that we would like the metrics for? This should just all be tried to be, associated with the projects or the events, based on that?
I think that's kind of what we do. It's just
That's what they-
whether or not they,
With the spreadsheet.
yeah. It's whether or not they can
What's up?
actually get that.
Get it? You know, another
Yeah.
thing I considered is possibly using wristbands, like a lot of events that I've done in the past, and the different colors represent either different motels or different nights of stay. Would that be something that would be beneficial?
Wristbands on the
Yeah.
participants?
For the events, yeah. You could correlate the colors to either hotels, the groups, the individual events, because I see that there's going to be the Lux and I think the WOW going to be going on together. And you could actually get a count of, how many are in each event.
Well,
Well,
they're ticketed events, so they would be having to hopefully answer the question that Tracy asks on the Eventbrite, which I'm assuming you're doing, Tracy. Some of those people are never going to tell you where they're staying. Having been one of the people that checks people in for things, they have privacy concerns. So you're never
Oh,
going to
sure,
have
sure.
perfect information.
Gotcha. Okay.
And we can imagine all sorts of granular details that would be nice to know, but I'm not sure how we can actually extract that information consistently so it would be actually valid. I feel very limited in my ability to get information out of people. Well, thank you, Tracy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. One down,
Okay.
And Elaine's on the
and
screen.
Elaine is on the screen.
Uh-huh.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yep. Well,
Sorry, I'm using some headphones so you don't hear my son in the background. So we are applying for the 2022 cottage tour. It's not a typo. The 2021 tour will happen in September. And then obviously 2020 was a little, just didn't work out. And then, so you'll see figures from 2019 that we used to kind of create the TAC metrics. What I'm hoping for the 2022 year is that people are starting to feel more comfortable. Homeowners are willing to open up their homes a bit more than they have the last a couple years. And because the last 2 years have been kind of weird by the time we're doing this tour, we wanted to really market it and really kind of hit people hard. We've kind of increased funding for the shipping of mailing because we've got a huge mailing list. It's close to 10,000 people that we send mailers to, and that's from a combination of Sunset Magazine's advertising and Coastal Living. We get, notifications of people who are interested in either the event or the town that we send postcards to, just to let them know that it's happening. And so there's that mailer. And so a large portion of the funds we're asking to is just kind of marketing the event, just to kind of get people excited about it again, talk about it for a little bit longer, and kind of get the ball rolling. We've also changed up the event a little bit. You've probably noticed the Friday night is kind of a more informal event. We're hoping to do a textile exhibit of the previous cottage tour quilts. We did that for the 8th annual tour. That was really fun to kind of feature some of the previous year's quilts. And we were going to do it for the 2020 year. So we've been kind of talking to the people through this time and kind of have that going on Friday night, just kind of an opening, people coming through, highlights of previous year's talks, things like that. And then Saturday, we've extended the tour. We've removed the luncheon and lecture. And what we're going to do is just include a lecture that's kind of happening during the tour that people can come to or not come to, just to give people less anxiety about being in small spaces, having the ability to kind of just come and go, having a Saturday night event, and then expanding our Sunday. The garden tea is just so popular. So we're Obviously, we're going to do that from 11 to 1 on the Sunday of the tour. And then we would like to do a tea progressive. And our hope is we had kind of wanted to do a Cannon Beach tour on Saturday and an Arch Cape tour on Sunday, like a Saturday, Sunday tour. But we have a difficult time getting homes in Arch Cape. So we thought maybe we would do kind of a progressive and kind of go off of the tea event and kind of have something where people can go from location to location and, you know, kind of extend that into increasing the Sunday night visitors, which is something that came up in an interview we had a few years ago. You know, instead of having a ton of people checking out on Sunday, maybe you're going to have some people stay over and check out on Monday, which having worked in the hospitality business for a while and work housekeeping, I thought that would be kind of nice. And obviously, and then, you know, event costs associated with the tour. And it is so confusing that, you know, 2021 hasn't happened and then everything with the COVID. So I understand that it's difficult for everyone, but we are looking at 2022 for sure.
I love your Sunday idea. I think it sounds cool.
I think it would be really fun. We've been wanting to do a 2-day tour for a while, but weather is always kind of a challenge to depend on, and homeowners tend to drop out if it rains. So we thought if we did something, because we had homes for the 2020 tour and they are interested in potentially doing that, then we thought it would be fun to do this kind of tea progressive where, you know, they're kind of moving along and it's not, you know, you're not expecting a ton of houses like we usually do on Saturday. We usually have like, you know, 10 to 13 homes on Saturday. This would be like 4 to 5 homes on Sunday. So still really fun. And they get to see a new area that they haven't really toured. We've never toured in Arch Cape before.
Right. I love that idea.
Elaine, this is Greg Swedenborg. Do you have any data on your return guests or attendees over any year period? I mean, you know that like any given year it's 20 of the same people or X amount?
Oh yeah, we have, so that return attendees, we have about 500 people that come regularly, and then 800 people who maybe come like every 3 to 4 years, or if they, you know, there's a house that they're interested in coming on. And those are the people we know, and we keep track of back as far as 2011, how many of these people have been coming since 2011. Some people come every year, but yeah, it's about 400 people that come every single year. I'm not sure what that's going to look like. I had a lot of emails over the last couple of years from people, because we get people from all over the US and Canada, and you know, some of them are older, some of them were immune compromised, but I have had a lot of people reach out to me about next year, right? You know, what are the dates? Can we book the hotel? Because, you know, they might be coming for the drive-by that we're doing in 2021, but they're just really excited to kind of come back and I think be back to normal. And that's kind of their hope. And they're kind of hoping that they can fly by that time. And, you know, as people are getting vaccinated, I'm getting a lot more requests for information. So yeah, it's a lot of people, and just depending on where we're touring, I noticed we might have, you know, maybe not as many people return as previous years, but there's a large portion of people who've come before.
So COVID aside, on a given year, if you had to pick a number, what percentage are first time attendees?
Oh man, I had that in an application somewhere. I actually looked at that. I want to say it was the 2019s. I think it was 70%, between 70 and 80% were return.
Oh, so 20 to 30% are first timers.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not bad.
That's a solid growth.
That's,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
And that seems to have grown, you know, each year, but I do see a lot of new people that come, and especially since we've been advertising with other home tour publications, we're getting people who've never been to Cannon Beach but want to go on a home tour that decided to come, especially with all of the people moving to Portland over the last few years. We've been working with the Irvington home tour for the last, I want to say 6 years. And I've noticed a lot of people who saw our ad in that live in Portland, but have never been to Cannon Beach, which blows my mind. And it's because they just moved to Portland. You know, they've moved here from, you know, wherever they've moved here from, but they move to Portland, they see the ad and they come down there, which I like, because I like introducing people to our community, and then also being like, and also check out the really cool history of this community. And if you think this is fun, come in during storm season when you can watch the storms.
Thank you.
And that goes back to your question to Tracy, or just the question about, are people coming at other times of the year as well? Right?
Yeah, yeah.
You get them here for an event and then they come back just because they like the town.
Yep.
If they have a good experience,
Yes.
they will want to come back. If they have a bad experience, they're crossing us off the list.
Yep. That's fact.
I think all of these events help to build an image in people's mind that doesn't go away easily. And I like being on people's mind, especially since all roads lead back to Cannon Beach. Okay.
I don't have any questions.
I would like to say there's an excellent grab of the data in your response to our question 5 about the ticket booth ability to gather more information.
Man, we just got that figured out in 2019. We were like, we got this. We were on it. We've got some really wonderful volunteers who were we just got it figured out. And then, you know,
Boom.
and then it all went crazy. But I'm hoping and we'll be back at that, and having the same volunteers and the same system will still work just as well. Because yeah, we got so much feedback from people. It was great.
Was there, almost a scripted entry point to guide the conversation to extract that information?
Yeah. So normally what I do, I go out and kind of greet everyone, and people are very anxious. They don't want to listen. They just want to get their map and go. And I made everyone do breathing exercises and some yoga stretches.
Yay!
As I was doing that, I was like, this is why this information is important. It's important to us, and getting funds to make this event grow. And I think just getting that little information, because, Jim, like you said, it's very difficult to get information from people. They get very nervous. Like, what is this for? Why are you asking me this? Why do you want to know where I'm staying? Like, it gets a little nerve-wracking, especially if some of these people are traveling alone or whatever. And I understand, but just having them say, oh, we're staying at a hotel, or we're staying at the RV park. And if they want to tell us more, that's great. And I definitely got a lot more information from people in 2019. And I think that was the way to go for sure.
Oh,
I'm guessing the more the identifying the information is, the more freaked out people are about providing that information versus if it's less identifying, they're more willing to share.
Right.
I have a question, Jim.
yes.
I see a large number in here, but I don't really see it's not that large, but I'm curious, don't we require a breakdown of expenses and revenues? I see 56% of your funding is going to be from is that the right number?
So 56%, and then the budget, I break it down for the marketing organizations that we've used in the past. A large portion of that funding, like I said, is going to go to basically to advertisers, so we can make sure, yes, that even this hasn't happened the way that you wanted to, we're going to try to get people back. And we really went to organizations that we've had really good success with in the past, like the Oregonian, Can Beach Magazine, or not Can Beach Magazine, Sunset Magazine, Travel Oregon, a lot of those publications where people normally look for. And then, you know, the Irvington Home Tour, which is such a small, and then like the mailing cost for the postcards that we send out to our mailing list, which is the leads from Sunset Magazine, Coastal Living, and then people who have been on the tour before. And we usually send a few mailers throughout the year, just letting them know the schedule of events, when they can purchase tickets, etc.
Oh, I see. I missed it because it's way back behind all the federal
Right.
requirements.
Yep.
Starts just after the feds.
Okay. Okay, sorry.
Elaine, can you remind me what year you were pregnant?
I had my son in 2015, just a few days before the tour.
Okay, I was just looking at the numbers and it's like one of those years she was pregnant. I remember.
Yeah.
That was a rough year.
That was definitely a rough year because I just knew it. I knew I was going to have him right around the cottage tour. And it was the week the cottage tour was happening. It was just that one year that it was like this Labor Day was like partly August and September. And like I had him like the Thursday before, but I was in the hospital for so long and everyone was like stressed out about it. And like when I got back and I was like, nobody collected information. They basically just gave me a pile of money and they're like, kind of figure it out. I don't know how many tickets we sold here. A lot of people came and it was nice. I did have one board member who was kind of taking notes. That was really helpful and kind of did that. But yeah, that was an interesting year.
At least there was a pile of money at the end of it.
Yes. Yeah, that was really good. It was fun counting all that with a diaper on. I think I'd had him like 3 days before and I'd gone into the museum and was like trying to figure everything out after the tour happened. Lots of fun. Hold on, buddy, just 1 second.
No, I'm good.
No. Well, thank you, Elaine, very much.
Thank you, Jim.
Appreciate the
Thanks, everyone.
presentation. We'll digest this.
Have a great day, rest of your day.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
We don't have Bridget till 1:55? Does that mean we have a little break here?
Why was it 1:05?
Oh, Lila, I'm sorry. I'm just rushing it.
10 minutes, an hour.
Just rushing it. I'm glad you're paying attention.
And
Gotta watch for the people to connect.
That's-
we're expecting Lila by,
Yeah, she's
Zoom.
Zoom, okay.
And then it looks like the rest of them after that are all
In
person.
person?
Okay.
Microphones? They can hear us, okay.
So we have to watch what we say.
The other thing is don't shuffle lots of papers right next to them all the time because you'll get that on the other end really bad.
Those meetings to somebody, it was either Robin or Brandon the other day that was,
Probably Robin.
I was like, it's like, stop that. I can't hear anything.
Yeah, Robin does a lot with the paper copies, so I would think that it might have been her, but they all do it to some degree.
Yeah. Please don't shuffle for those of us that are sitting in our living rooms.
When do we get the new chairs? I mean, is that
Oh,
a spacing thing or obviously it's to some extent a spacing thing?
that's right, because they used to do those latch on.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, those were ordered just before COVID happened, and then it took them like 6 months to get it. So we got them in the middle of COVID. And then we actually found out the capacity of the room is severely wrong. capacity is 39 for this portion of it. And then we're COVID restrictions, so we can only have 20 in here. So that's what this is now.
Hey there.
Greg, call me,
I assume you've got it down by now, Greg.
but I count on you, Julie.
Right there.
Stephen,
Like Lila's.
you're in the middle one.
I think that's Lila.
We are, Lila is up in about
Third,
6 minutes or so.
she might have
First one.
connected.
Read all my homework.
I know.
Okay.
Can I ask a question before we,
Sure.
a good of the order,
Taped right now.
good of the order kind of question?
Yeah.
Is there a legal requirement that we have in the packets, the tax information, like the tax return? Because you're printing so many pages.
Well,
I was like looking at these going, I don't care about any of this tax stuff. I just want to know that. Is it required that, or is it easier for you probably?
Part of your packet, because that's one of the things you request.
Okay.
This also raises the question, this is a public document now.
It is a public document because.
It would be accessible online by anyone searching
Yeah.
for that.
It is
It's actually more information than I want too.
Yeah, I was just curious if we really needed it, because I didn't know, maybe it was easier for you just to put the pack together and print it. Because if it's harder for you, I don't want to change it, but
It's.
if it's easier, okay.
I mean, that's,
Well, that's the applicant putting the information in there.
I mean, I want to know that they are an official 501c3, but I don't need to see their tax. I believe if they say they're a 501c3, I believe them.
A registration letter will give you that. Also the.
Right.
I was just trying to save time in my agenda.
so maybe when we do the app, we revise the application next go around, we say, please limit your information to the letter or like one-page document proving that.
It demonstrates that they're a 501.
Yeah, I just,
We don't need the tax return.
yeah,
No,
I just, right, yeah, save you time, us money and paper.
So to be official, I need to check
oh, yeah, your COVID.
Oh, yeah, right here.
Yeah.
See, I remembered to bring it too.
just to, because.
I know I had to.
I'm sorry, I got this yesterday. It's the Costco receipt. It's
Okay,
Costco receipt,
you
yeah.
are good.
Yes,
Okay,
I am.
thank you. I didn't want.
You should
someone to
highlight it
say-
in a pumpkin, right?
That's that
Best
or
of our
like
US government right there. That'll get you in Europe.
No, I don't think you're.
No, it
Not
won't.
right now, it won't.
Europe won't do that.
Or Hawaii.
Or Canada.
Or Canada. Oh my God, when will the Canadians be let back in? I miss my Canadian cousins so much.
Oh, I do
They
too.
don't want us up there though.
They don't want us up
They don't want
there.
us up there.
They're probably fine to come down here, but
Mhm.
we have to reciprocate.
When we do the revision thing.
Glad you don't live in Point Roberts.
Well, you can't go to Hawaii without the card either. And they don't accept it.
Nope.
They don't accept the card.
Negative COVID test is what you need.
I can make.
Somebody just came back from there that I
Lila's
know.
on if you.
Lila's on? Ah,
Sorry.
It even has an app that you have to install on your phone so you can be tracked.
Lila, are you with us? Well, hello. I see you.
Yes,
Yep, we hear you.
There she is.
Clear. Let's just forge ahead with asking you for a summary of what's up with your application.
okay, so it's been a really interesting year, as we all know, and some of the lessons learned from our experience are interesting in that, we used to have our gallery be staffed almost entirely with volunteers. And then because of COVID, we had our 2 employees. We actually have 3 one for summer art camp, but we had our 2 employees staff the gallery because it was so much less complicated in a COVID environment than all of those different people. And the positive outcome of that is that they're much better at selling art than our random volunteers were. So subsequently, we have been able to improve our sales. Last month, our sales were almost $8,000. And remember, 60% of that goes to the artists. So anyway, the application is really about retaining the lessons we've learned from participating in a COVID environment. And those lessons are, we need to focus more on marketing and be better at marketing. We need to offer online sales as well as in-person sales. And we need to utilize the assets of our employees in the best way possible. To that end, a couple of things that you'll see are that because we found that this marketing was so important, we are increasing Summer Peterson's time. Scott is very good at sales, but he's a technophobe. So we need to have the expertise of, the both sides of the brained people. Anyway, Summer was going to be here today, but she's participating in her grandfather's memorial, so she couldn't be here. But I did attach her last marketing report, and she also gave me some little talking points about the marketing component, which is on our social media platform annually reaches 10,000 plus people. Our virtual audience has grown by 40% on all our social media outlets, and we are continuing to see growth. Physical mailing addresses have grown from 300 people to 450, and our monthly newsletter audience has grown 16%, increasing by 108 active subscribers. So that's all on Summer, actually. That's kind of my overview. But I know that you all assiduously read the application, so I'm sure you'll have some questions. And unfortunately, we didn't do very well with the matrix because I just can't figure out how to do it in this environment. Once we start having exhibitions again, then it's a lot easier to figure out where people came from. The other two features, I'm sorry, I thought I told you I was done. The other two features that we're interested in are collaborating with the disaster animal response team and publishing a book on beach dog portraits, and then selling it at the gallery and giving the funding to the disaster animal response team. And then the second thing is I've been talking with John Broderick with the Fisher Poets, and we wanted to do a collaboration on putting some illustrations with the poems and then publishing that and selling it at the gallery with the proceeds going to the Fisher Poets.
Well, my comment is that I'm excited to hear that you are selling art via social platforms, whatever, if it's Facebook or your website or whatever. I'm excited to hear that you have made that technology change, because I think that with a visual medium, those online platforms are, really important for your organization to grow and expand sales without people having to be in your facility. So I would say good job on that.
We did get, we got a small COVID grant, I'll call it, and we're able to purchase a new Mac computer. The computer we had before was not capable of doing all the kinds of things that we're trying to accomplish.
Thank you.
One other question for you. Actually, my other thing was a comment, not a question, but You're asking for 33,000 this year. It was 24,000 last year. That's a pretty big growth. Is that due to paying people to come in and sell art versus relying on volunteers? Is that the staffing? Is that the $9,000 difference or the bulk of the difference?
Well, it's the staffing. Yes, the short answer is yes, but it's also those two projects where we'll be creating the books for sales for other organizations. So those are the two changes.
Let's keep in mind that's their request. 24,000 is what we gave them. I can't remember what their request was last year. It might have been higher.
We were pretty.
Oh, that's right. We did, didn't we? That's right. Okay.
Yeah, it was almost the whole request. And we're very grateful for it because it's how we survived. And the other thing I think I would say is not only relying on employees versus volunteers, but as you all know, we struggle in this community to retain people who live and work in the community. And we feel committed as an organization to assure that they have employment, that they can continue to live and work in the community.
Was this one of those that they were able to spend the entire grant before COVID locked everything down last year?
So last year,
Look at the final.
Yeah,
The final.
this is the final, right?
yeah,
Or-
In the back, the way.
Did turn- Oh, here we go. This guy right here. Sorry. Thank you. That's right. I made notes. Look at that.
because at our gallery, what we did, when we got locked down, that was in March. And then we opened up to limited capacity with, stanchions and gas and mask wearing and all of those things, July 8th.
Okay. Good.
And remember, the grant was delayed last year. So we're really talking about the time from October of 2020 to through April of 2021.
No question.
Okay, I'm good.
Me too.
Okay,
Yeah.
now we have,
Because we're not starting
Yeah.
with it apparently.
Did start with
thank you, Lila.
Yes,
noon.
I'm sorry, somebody cut out. I couldn't hear what you said.
Oh, thank you. I think most of our other questions will be us doing additional homework and poring over your application, but appreciate your presentation this morning.
Well,
This
and
afternoon.
thank you for doing this. I know it takes a lot of mental energy to do the deliberations you're doing, and we all appreciate it. And I don't know, Rusty, if you don't mind, I'd like to stay. Isn't Bridget next?
Not at 1:55.
Yeah, at 1:55.
Yep,
Okay, I'll leave.
you're certainly welcome back in, even if you take a break and leave us. This is a
Okay.
public meeting here.
Right. We're just doing the little collaboration. So I wanted to
Sure.
hear her presentation to you. All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
So is tomorrow at noon as well?
Yes.
Well, I'll change my calendar. I had this 1 to 4 both.
That is
days.
funny. I did too. And until I asked my
That's why you didn't call me.
second employee that had to come in at 1, and then all of a sudden I realized,
I was so proud of me.
It's
10
you.
till, I'm like in the truck driving around. I'm good.
Well, I apologize for the big gap. I scheduled, I did the time slot, so.
I apologize to everybody.
And then a bunch of people were like, well, this really fits for me, and I could still go into that time frame. So we ended up with a gap.
Oh,
So we do still need to do minutes.
My apologies to the staff.
okay.
Oh, no.
Greg is throwing his paper.
Greg, we're kind of used to it.
That's the thing. So yeah,
So
I'm consistent, if nothing else.
there is, I think, another packet?
Yeah, I have.
Minutes? Oh, you got the minutes?
Oh, I've got that right here.
Minutes?
Oh, perfect.
You got 'em.
I
Let's
got
go
it.
back and catch ourselves up.
That's why I was ready to go on the minutes when you said, oh, Lila's about to join us. And I think, oh, okay, we're gonna skip that.
We're not doing it.
Oh, my God. Did we get lit? Did she have a good, okay, good.
And history.
And history, and well, Elaine,
Center.
that's a no brainer. God, talk about a comprehensive write-up. That was great. I read the whole thing. It was really good.
Okay, where did the minutes go?
Jennifer, I did all my homework. I was ready.
And you know what, the great thing is with Zoom, you can just pop online and listen to the first couple ones and you'll be like, wow, they did a great job.
There we go.
There you go.
That's what I'll do. I'll get caught up.
That is true. That is the cool thing about Zoom.
Yeah, and the audio recordings now are just amazing. Remember before when we would post the audio, it was really hard to hear?
Yeah.
I mean, this audio is so clear, it clears everything.
I think that's going to be handy moving ahead. I don't know. There are good things that are going to come out of this pandemic, I would say.
Yeah, well, I mean, this was a good example. I told everyone, you know, you have choices. You can come in person or Zoom, and the majority of people have chosen to do Zoom today.
Yeah.
Because it's easy, it's convenient.
Yep.
and-
Tracy can be driving to wherever she's going.
Cocktails to go. That's not gonna be put back on the shelf, I don't think.
I was so glad that that went through. I figured if anyone was going to say, no, we can't continue that, it would be the OLCC. But no, they approved it for moving ahead forever.
Good.
Forever? I didn't.
Yes, oh, no, we got our blessed for, that's what we do from here on out.
Oh, I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
thought it would be coming up to like, hey, time to take it away.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
I know, I was
Don't
shocked.
use it.
yeah,
Don't be the.
that guy.
Don't be the
Yeah,
reason.
don't be the reason that goes away.
It's all good till that Swedenborg guy in Canada.
Damn it.
Are we still on? Okay. I'm just checking. Make sure.
Yeah, I can pause the recording. And we're muted at
extra, so that will be during the WOW weekend.
So I've got a couple more questions about your budget here. And I have to keep in mind, this is for 2022, not 2021. Event planning, the 3K for that, who's getting that?
So this year I'm working with Events by Aries. She's a local gal that owns Child's Play. And that happened when I came in there and was talking to them about having children come in, being part of this event, and men as well, that she is a planner. And now I'm working with her a lot in the wedding industry. It's been such a wonderful collaboration of people. So this year she's doing appropriated amount of in-kind work, and we've but that is for her, and I'd like to.
And she's helping you for this year
This
too.
year, and then that amount is for her for next year as well.
And the $6,000 full
festival
marketing
marketing.
plan.
That is a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, yes. And that is, I've talked to 3 different people, and that is a range of things. And so I wanted to read through what that kind of marketing plan ranges through, but that's about what I've done 2 different I've gotten 2 different proposals, and one was 5,200 and one was 6. So I kind of just.
From who?
So the one in there was from Rachel O'Rourke, and then she actually is going to work with me this year and probably in kind over half with that, and then also speak for free as well, but that's for the Blush Lux. And then I was looking through Oregon Coast Creative, which is Brandon, but he wasn't really good about getting back to me. So I decided to go with Ally. And this year we're working, and she's doing some in-kind work as well, but now we're at about 3,000. So I'm just looking at promoting more with Facebook ads and stuff like that, that would go along with.
Are they doing just the plan for $6,000, or are they implementing some of the work? Is what I'm trying to figure out, because my next question is, the social media budget seems very heavy. $2,000 seems like a lot if you're just doing Facebook ads and Instagram stuff. So I guess is all this person doing writing up a marketing plan, or are they marketing plan and implementation?
No, it's both and implementation for the whole course of this.
So then it's $8,000 because they're doing social media sponsorships, advertising.
Well, the sponsorship is separate because you're paying Facebook and Instagram for that. You're not paying that person to do the full marketing queue on that.
Well, that seems like a lot of money
I don't know what they think.
on Facebook ads and Google ads.
It's the Google ads. So the Google
They're
ads,
expensive.
what happens is the Google ads, the more people that you hit with that, the more you get charged with it, because I'm learning that right now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know that some of that can be toned down, and also I'm wanting to be able to make this not 100% funded either, where it's kind of coming into itself with ticket sales and all that. And I think once we get past a certain amount, it will have its longevity of it and keep coming, but we have to keep it new. That people want new things all the time. It's
No, I have no argument with that. The other thing I would also say, since we're looking at 2022, is that you should have, hopefully, depending on how this year goes, a good start on a robust mailing list.
yes. And actually we have none, because
Right.
I had talked with Buddy and she said, unfortunately, Ticket Tomato in 2017 didn't cross over anything. So it is starting from new. And I,
Or you can call, you can go to the, can you go to,
Is that,
Can you repeat that?
sorry, hold on. Yeah.
I don't think he's talking.
I don't think he's talking to us.
Oh,
Anyway, I think you're going to start off with a mailing list of places to start. And hopefully if it's fun, the idea will be, oh, this was so much fun. Those 3 people will talk about it. And
that's
the group next year gets bigger.
And that's easier. I think in doing this, it's like some of this money is coming from this year on the things that I am working off with nothing.
Understood.
So
Okay.
that doesn't mean that next year, 2023, it actually will get easier on that level as far as marketing, because it will kind of,
Hopefully it'll snowball.
Self, yes.
And then your 5K on the talent and entertainment costs. Can you break down what you're thinking with that money?
Yes. So actually that was probably under delivered as far as talent, because I know Rachel O'Rourke, who does like Spark Portland, she's $5,000 out the gate, but I'm not looking for that. This is kind of more of a homegrown event, but you have to have a few key players. And that's where, Julie Amici and Alan Haggard coming in. I do want to pay for their services. It does, not all of it can be in kind. It's not fair to, to everybody either. So the question is finding a few key people that will come in and drive the enrollment for some of that.
So educate me, since I'm not a beauty person, as you can tell.
But this is wow.
Boys aren't, for
Wow.
sure.
This is women's only weekend.
Gotcha. But I don't know Rachel O'Rourke. Is she an influencer? Who is she? And
She is.
other people, because for sure they don't know.
Yes. So I was using her as an example because she actually has Spark Portland, which was bringing a lot of women in, and she had over 1,000, people come to her event, and it was kind of homegrown like this.
Is it?
Well, it's a, self-help kind of thing. It's a lot like Women's Only Weekend or the WOW Weekend that we're trying to do, is to have these different venues and things. And I'm now just at a loss for words.
Okay, I've never heard of her before, so I'll Google her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
won't matter.
Business code.
Business coach.
Oh, okay, so you guys do know her.
Well, no,
I
right here.
feedback, of course.
Google's amazing.
Building a thriving.
We Are Spark, that's her event
Yeah.
that she put.
Our
on. So, yeah. But that's more of the Blush Lux side of it.
Gotcha, understood.
Sorry about that.
No, that's.
This is kind of more, so I was working with Julie Amici, and she wants to do a Patsy Cline, a tribute. I had talked to Patrick at the Coastal Theater, and we're looking at renting like that space for that. And Julie's all on board for that. For the WOW Weekend, she was talking about, doing individual singing classes and basically empowering women to use their voice. I just like, everyone I talked to had such amazing ideas for all of this. So we're really trying to plug people in where that will work for them. And then really for the WOW Weekend, we're not having key speakers for that weekend. That would be more an entertainment based kind of thing. So people could come around and enjoy that at different places. So, but
so I'm jumping ahead to the other one. What's the name of that again? The
Blush Lux.
Sorry. That is, the idea is to do that on the same weekend, so it becomes one big thing.
Yes.
Sort of. There's still two separate events and I get that, but okay, just curious what your vision is for that weekend moving ahead.
and a lot of the fees do. Is that for us?
Greg.
Greg?
Yeah, I was in there real quick. You know, I'd actually been reading the two, this week, and I was wondering if you consideration to working with Blush to consolidate the funds that you're looking for and probably get a little better marketing bang for your buck. Being it's a woman's only week fitting, I think, together.
It's been difficult when I agree with that. And even in looking at it, some of it was, they are synonymous in a way, but they are actually two different events. Like the Blush Lux events could happen at any time. It just seemed like it was a good time coming outside of COVID, that it would be kind of an add-on to see if it gains momentum. It has gained momentum. It could almost be its own event in February, which would be amazing too. Like I could see that. And that would be more guest speakers, women empowerment, and running along those lines. But
Right.
it is kind of nice to have.
Somebody needs to mute themselves.
It's hard to talk about why they're those events and have the
Sounds like Lila.
statistics on it. Plus, she hired me to like pretty much do the.
Oh, no, it's Erica.
Rusty will take care of it. Watch him. He'll
Okay.
Did I answer that question thoroughly enough? I do feel like it is more bang for your buck. And even in looking at the budgets for it, I think that they can kind of piggyback on each other as far as marketing too. And I was mindful of that. But also it can carry itself. And that's a nice thing too. It
My concern, my thought is each one of these events are trying to bring people in on days or times that we don't have other events. So to throw them both together, it almost seems the most logical thing to do would be to work from each other off of the same budget. You know, I think it would help and increase the budget for you by adding the two together, and you could focus that on marketing. It sounded like you had trouble with marketing campaign money. So I thought it just might be a good fit.
I could understand that. I just do feel like it's a separate event though, governed by a different entity and where it's not kind of festival driven.
How different?
The WOW is. Well, it's a personal, business for that. We're still wanting to donate and everything, but really the WOW has been a citywide kind of event. So in taking that on, I've just kind of kept it at that. I don't necessarily want to take it over either. It's a bigger, more inclusive as far as.
Because who's your nonprofit for that?
Here it's the food pantry, and it was last year as well.
Okay.
But the WOW encompasses all of the businesses, where they can have something individually at their business and stuff, where the Blush Lux is not like that.
It's more beauty.
It is just
self-care and beauty.
Beauty driven.
Gotcha. And are you envisioning that Blush Lux could happen either at another time during the year? You said February, which is interesting because that's a good month to get people down here. Or are you envisioning maybe you would do it twice a year?
I would love to do it once a year. Allowing it to gain some momentum. I think doing it during WOW is a good time to gain momentum and have its own structure with the VIP tickets. But I really can see it growing on its own to a February event. I could make that happen.
Okay, that's interesting.
And I know that now after doing all the work that I've done this last year, getting it together.
kind of on that thought process, the 2022 dates, were they just randomly picked or is it what was available? And the reason I ask, it's Veterans Weekend. It's a 3-day weekend.
Yes, it is this year as well. And
November.
when 12 years ago, WOW was randomly.
It was always
the second weekend. It was nestled in between stormy weather and Black Friday. So it kind of, it's kept that. I don't think with me just taking it over and then of course it not happening yet, I can move it either. I don't know,
I
so,
know, historically, you're absolutely right. It was always that weekend and
that's when Purple Moon did, that's when Abbas did his thing. It's kind of morphed and now we're wanting to take it kind of to another level on a festival kind of level. I think it can hold its weight in that.
So your point is 3-day weekend, we're going to get people anyway?
well, I kind of look at it as you've got stormy weather. I didn't even look at a calendar, but it has, stormy weather would be the week before.
Right.
Weekend before. You have stormy weather, then Veterans Day / wow, then Thanksgiving. So you have 3 big
In November.
things in November. And then you look at February and you have President's Day, Valentine's Day, but nothing else.
Yep.
And so when people started saying February,
That's why I was asking. It's like, maybe that one could get momentum the first year and then it's like, hey, and then we're doing it at the end of February.
I know I can
Next year.
Flush Lux to February. Like I know but it does need to get some groundwork going on it.
Yeah.
So, and I think doing it during women's only is a perfect time to do that.
But it sounds like even that statement recognizes an opportunity of cross promotion
Does.
in whatever form that seems to fit.
Yes, but also keeping in mind they're 2 different promotions. Like I
Yes.
can't necessarily cross promote and expect like the same people to attend the one. It has to be targeted to. So that's where looking at marketing, it has to look at itself in 2 separate entities just for where we want to target to. And that's the point of why I think it is a separate event, because it will bring the other target in to this.
And it is a lot of women for WOW. And women would be your target market for the most part, not entirely, but for the blush thing. So it could be, I do think it's a great way to, rather than on a random stormy weather weekend, for instance, or picking any one of our other events that's going on, Get Lit or whatever. You've already got women for the most part coming to town that have a shopping kind of a festival thing going. There's probably a huge Venn diagram of overlap of those same women that would really go to a beauty thing.
Agree.
There is,
Yeah.
and that's how it's separate, but the same.
Yeah.
It's.
No, I get it. I think it's a good way to launch it.
I was almost like, it's been harder to explain that to everyone. I was like, what did I do? I knew what it was originally, given that it is a separate kind of thing, but it's been hard to explain it, but I don't need to explain it. It will explain itself. So what we've done with that, which I can explain when we talk about Blush Lux,
I think it's a great,
them together
I
is.
think it's a great launching pad for it. It's one of, to me, it's like the perfect event to launch that as its own separate deal. It'd be great if it was another time of year.
Did we see a midterm evaluation
For,
for WOW? For the budget from last year's?
You did, and nothing had been used. I really was doing all the groundwork for that and getting people together. So just now have I just started buying things?
Aha, yeah, that was my question.
Yes, yeah. There was a midterm evaluation. Basically, it was, I haven't done anything.
You went, well, that's,
I haven't spent anything is what I should say.
yes, but is it your intent to spend that particular award in ways that are other than what's in this application?
The old application or the new one?
Well, how are you going to spend that money? Is it committed for development or you said you started making expenditures now?
Yes, for 2021, not for 2022 yet.
Right.
I'm still working on 2021. So
Okay.
yes.
For next year.
I know that.
Okay.
I'm just trying to trace the money, whether it's
2021
coming
money.
back or being expended.
Right. Sounds like it's being
Because
expended.
we didn't have the anticipation of that, but it's apparently committed.
It's a verbal. There's nothing in writing for any of that. So it's not committed. It's for 2022, if that's what you mean. I literally am working on 2021 market.
21 conversations. I think that's confusing.
Okay.
I think, because we've talked about 2021 and this was a presentation on 2022. I think it's very confusing to separate them and so let's just, I'd say we focus strictly on 2022. That, to me, it's a lot
Okay.
cleaner.
Okay,
And we've already
Yeah,
said, they already said, you know, we said this much money for it and city council blessed it. They're going ahead for 20.
They're doing their thing. Yeah.
This is all about 2022.
got it. Okay.
And the midterm evaluation for 2021 is reflective of what it was. So I can say that. 2022, nothing's been committed to yet. So this was my budget for it. I do realize the marketing is high. It probably won't be like that in years to come. It's stepping off really with nothing. And I realized this year, it kind of did it as disservice. I could have used way more marketing right at the get-go. So.
But I mean, it's nice that you would have, so let's say we approve this, city council approves it. The nice part is that your 2021 event is still to come. You'll have a commitment of some money, assuming that we agree to money for it, to be able to.
It's actually a perfect time to do that.
Yeah, you can totally, those
Get
people
the-
that are there will,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they'll be energized and ready for it. And, oh yeah, they'll have other ideas. I'm really excited about it, actually. This is, it's taken over my life, but I'm really excited.
questions on your main events.
Mhm.
You have a Friday kickoff party, midday Saturday concert, and Saturday wind down. Where are those because you said you don't have anything in writing, right?
Correct.
Where do you think that those are gonna be?
So
What's the plan?
for the kickoff party to be at the chamber, what we were hoping for. And we're kind of following suit about what 2017 had. I have like huge ideas that could happen, but I want to see how it flows because I was a small participant in 2017. So I do need to see how it flows. The wind down was historically at Cannon Beach Hotel. I have talked to her and she said it still is available. I actually think it's too small of a space because I know we're going to have more people. So that's where we're looking. There's several different places. I know Talavana, we've talked to them. They have their big boardroom there. I've talked to Patrick at the Coaster Theater. That's where I was thinking like the Patsy Cline tribute, as well as having another venue, but that's more of a sit down kind of look. But as far as the wind down, it just kind of depends. I know the RV park has a nice place over there too. So we've talked to people. We just haven't like meshed everything in where it should be, but there are big enough places.
How about the concert? Is that a coaster? The
Yes,
Saturday
that's what we were thinking. Yeah.
So they do a Saturday night show though, right? So that won't impact their ability to pull off the Saturday night show.
Correct. And I was talking with Patrick with that and he didn't think so at that time. So, and really it would be dependent on those kinds of things of when that show would be. So that's what we're pinning down right now. Also, there was McGregor's where Julie Amici has played before and she could talk to Chip and do that again too. So that's kind of all in the work and I want them to be where they're most comfortable too. So.
She wrote a note for you on her thing. Number 12 on target marketing, what page it is. I thought you might have an opinion, Julie. So they're going to target markets, Portland, Seattle, plan to focus most at marketing these areas, plan to advertise in the Tribune, the Oregonian, and a local radio station. I don't know enough about our print advertising. Julie, you always seem to have a great opinion. I just thought I made a note, ask Julie's opinion about it.
I was worried about, so the advertising in the newspaper, I'm not sure is worth anything. I'd be more interested in somehow if you can get a press release to those to get free mentions. And I don't know where that would sit, like in the arts section, or I don't even know where that would.
Art reporter.
Yeah.
So I want to leave that to the marketing gurus and I love Ali Neuer gave me a marketing plan and she's with Farm to Fork Tours out of Tillamook. And she's got quite a network with all that and she's given a scope of her work, which I can include for you guys if you want it or need it. And actually, I think it's fabulous. She's also reaching out to bloggers, which this event has changed significantly. I know the 2017 event had, things like print publication, like this event that's not how women are or people are communicating anymore either. It's really more of a social network. But then she's also got here social media influencers, bloggers, and other media outlets. She's going to write press releases to Oregon and Seattle areas, which she's done before for her stuff. So I was really impressed with her proposal, and I really want to work with her. She's been great, especially because now I've interviewed quite a few marketing people. Less than lackluster, you know?
Well, that sounds way more better than running an ad, a
Yeah.
traditional ad, because that is how people are finding out, especially I'm not in those circles, so I'm the wrong person to ask, but women who are interested in women, a women's getaway with shopping and spa and all that kind of stuff. That's not how they find out about it. There's not going to be an ad in the Portland Tribune that's going to do it, but a press release and getting into influencers and bloggers and that kind of stuff, that's the way you're going to do it.
And our website already with the tickets can capture all the things that we need to capture as far as where they're coming from, how far, and so on and so forth.
Great.
Made sure of that before we even launched, so.
Oh, and what is your website?
It's cannonbeachwow.com. Mhm.
Okay, thanks. Okay.
And it's literally like, I worked on it this morning. Being worked on.
In progress.
So I mean, and that's something like, I'm doing it and Erica, the planner, are doing it because we're saving money because there is no money for it. So that's, so be kind to me about my website. I'm just kidding.
We all understand.
Yes, we all understand. I'm looking forward to it. I think this is,
It's always a great event.
Yep.
Yeah, it always was a great event.
People and having fun. And for us, we get
yeah.
really dance women wanting life. Right?
That's right.
That group is our demographic.
Oh, yeah. You're right in the thick of it too, right there in downtown. That's Dina's across the corner and.
No easy task to pick up that mantle and run with it. So thank you
Yeah.
for doing that.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, I've also worked with all the boutiques. They're all on board for this. So I mean.
Crazy not to be.
It'd be crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, some of them actually, a couple of them, it's like, it's so busy with stormy weather and then Black Friday. It's not the perfect weekend, to be honest. But I mean, who doesn't like to make a bucket of money either? So.
The bucket of money before December, because then it all goes away.
It is hard for them to have inventory for all of that for all those weekends in a row. So that's one of the most difficult things. That's why really it could be moved too, but we're in motion with that. And I think it's just been so long that it's been there.
I think bringing it back on the same, I think for now, that makes sense to me. Be consistent. And then you can always look in the future. Like Greg was suggesting, maybe it's combined, maybe it isn't. I think it's important you keep them separate, in my opinion. Like I share your opinion.
Yeah.
Lush Lux and WOW need to be their own thing for now. And then maybe it makes sense to move it to February or something later.
Well, marketing, it might, like I understand the question, and I have to really keep them separate even in working on them because they do mesh really well. So
that brings up Blush.
Yep. Are we done with this one? Is Lila there? All right.
Okay.
Now we have to put a Blush Lux hat on.
Lush Lux hat.
Sure.
Okay, so I'll start. The Blush Lux, which when I wrote the grant, we didn't have a name for it yet. So that's why it was the Union Not Beauty event. We've since named it, have made a logo for it. Also working with me on this right now is Erica. I was looking for another planner who is local here, but she actually is doing a lot of weddings in Chicago at the moment. So she, right now, Erica is helping with this as well, because there is the momentum of it. So we're interviewing people, we're Zoom calling, we're talking to talent all the time, trying to get them to come in and do that. There is a website for it. We've just launched it. That is blushlux.com. So this event, when I was writing the 2022 grant, I really wanted to focus on beauty as self-care. And it's a huge market. So it fits into lots of categories, which I have put on as number one here on the grant. I don't think I need to reread that, but it's exponentially getting bigger and bigger with how women want to care for themselves and how they're doing it. They're doing it by services and going places, and they're really looking forward to it now, especially after COVID. So there's a really large market for it. We really want to look at Blush Looks as the VIP component to the WOW weekend. And that's where it's targeting the majority of women. And we're looking to do a more diverse kind of crowd as far as who we're trying to bring in marketing wise. And I think we're able to do that. I've got some great people on board that are willing to mark down their services as far as being speakers and all kinds of things. So you can see them on the website as to who the speakers are. I've got them kind of, they don't say who they are, but you can see who's coming for that right now. I've got some really influential makeup artists that are going to come and do some classes. What I would like to target in with this is to do makeup classes and to have workshops on how to integrate self-care into your beauty regimen. That's the Blush Lux part of this. And in looking at it, it's kind of like a VIP ticket during the WOW weekend in that you can then pamper yourself even more, where you can get your hair and makeup done in the morning. You then go to brunch, which is part of your ticket price. Then you're going to go to a boutique in a designated amount of time. And I've talked to the boutiques about this, that they'll have staff ready for it, 12 and 2. And that's the Blush Lux people that are coming in during that time. They can pick where they want to go. So we're going to focus on, Dina's, Rochelle M's, and boutique, of course. And then after that, you will go and get your pictures taken by a professional photographer. And we've got Simple Joy, who's coming from Portland. She's amazing. And she will then also print smaller pictures and have them on Sunday. So that keeps people staying throughout that weekend. So the pictures will be, you'll have your hair and makeup done, you'll have your clothes on, and you're going to take your pictures with your best friends, your friends. It's about, we never as women take pictures. We're always behind the camera, or we're always doing, or we're never looking our best, or we don't want to do that, or it's the kids or this. And we want to capture that moment where they're feeling safe, they're feeling good, they've gotten pampered on, and this is just a fun time. And throughout this event, we really want to have photographers throughout town taking kind of candid pictures. And that was kind of for WOW too, but.
You mentioned photo booths at venues, and this raised the question, are we talking indoors or outdoors? And do we bump into the same ordinance of service being supplied? Is it outside the merchandise? I don't know.
So with that, I didn't even think of that, but even just your statement of that, it's not a problem to have them indoors. They're circulating in and out. I think we could have one at the chamber. I think we could have one at one of the boutiques. We can have one down at the art association. You can take it with, I really want to capture.
I'd avoid permitting.
Correct.
Probably.
I do want to try to avoid that.
It also makes it very Instagrammable.
Kind of an inside juncture, and then we'll have the lighting. And then, so with the professional photos, my vision of that was like on Saturday afternoon, we have someone at the chamber with a professional backdrop, and Joy had said she'd be happy to do that. Or at the Union Knot, we're donating all of our spaces. We're donating the Cannon Beach Salon, the Union Knot, all of that is just being donated 100% for this event. But you could have, we have a chair in the backdrop, and we've got a beautiful herringbone back, all of that kind of stuff. So that's the vision of that. And then you can have, we talked about having a braid bar downstairs at the beauty salon, or a henna gal doing it somewhere, and they're all inside because I want to not worry about if it's raining or not.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
I just actually don't care. It can rain, it can be sunny, it can be whatever. I want to be able to make this event so it captures that wherever. We had been working with the Art Association. Another part with that is that I just love that organization. I've been part of that. I was on the board for like 8 years. So we want to do how to take the perfect selfie or portrait of your dog or whatever. It doesn't matter what it is, and have a class for that. We can have that at the Art Association or at the union, not. But those proceeds, I think in 2001, I had said that the proceeds of that would go to them, but I really want to make it across the board that 10% of all of our proceeds go to the Art Association. So that, and actually I have already pre-sold about 15 tickets to this.
Your statement was, in the application, was 10% of profits. One of my notes was, are you talking on ticket sales only? How are you
Basically,
calculating?
this is a ticket sale event. So yes, of ticket sales.
That's okay. So you mean 10% of ticket sales, not 10% of profits?
No, I meant profits. I'm sorry to say that, but this is a ticket sale event, but of all the profits is what I just off the top would like to give that to the Art Association.
So you're talking gross revenues.
Gross minus expense, 10% of the.
Minus
delta.
Yeah, because it's the expense.
Right.
Mhm.
Like, for instance, the application says you're applying for 100% of funding. But actually, you've indicated that there are services that have value that are being donated in kind and such.
I
So
think
that value is not reflected when you're within your statement that you're asking 100%.
so this is 53%.
Is it?
No, this is like 50%. right?
53%, yeah.
Yes.
That was 100, this one was 53.
Oh, I missed.
Last year, it was 100, because actually I just had no idea, but now I do have an idea. And I have pre-sold some tickets. I don't have that revenue yet for that.
Bad, I missed it.
Sorry, Jim.
And actually, this budget is much clearer than last year, so
Yes.
I kind of have.
Shot in the dark last year.
And I literally had like 2 days last year. So I was like, oh, okay, we're doing this. So
Under short services, I had a question. So can Steve and I go to McGregor's, watch the game, get a hot shave and a single malt?
yes,
Because that sounds like a good time.
no, yes, actually, I want to have.
You can go to McGregor's, get a shave, watch the game and get a single malt.
I want to integrate the,
Your first 2 men tickets.
self-care for men, and it's kind of important. I actually did a lot of research on that. And
I would pay for a hot shave.
Steve Barr was part of it.
I would pay for a hot shave. I would love to have that.
Where could you do that at McGregor's?
I don't just that
In the
just.
fireplace or something?
I'm gonna let you go first and see how it goes. After we.
That would be done at the salon. Let's.
All right, all right.
Okay,
And then you can go.
then you can go for your single malt.
But honestly, in
No, I was intrigued by the men's service. That's a good idea.
I want to keep, it's not inclusive to just women either, but really this is a driven female event.
Of course.
I'm like, wow, we're actually like that service should be under the wow category. Like I'm finding that a lot too. That could be an all inclusive,
Well,
it doesn't matter who.
2017 write-up, that was a really good description of that event. What else can, except in Cannon Beach, can you do all these things in one day?
Right.
That's really good.
So I have a question for you. I'm thinking, you talked about self-care, beauty and self-care. So is this event a beauty event? Is it a self-care event? Or is WOW a self-care event and a shopping event? So when we define, I think of self-care, I think of like yoga and I think.
Yes.
Massage,
What's that?
massage,
Massage, yoga.
facial.
Are those businesses going to be impacted or involved in there? Because if we can spread the attendees to those types of.
The spa
businesses,
and the.
Definitely.
Which event would that?
Oh, and
Right, so the community part of that, where it's the spread of it, that falls under WOW.
Wow.
Okay,
So the specifics of beauty as self-care, so actual makeup classes,
Okay.
actual tangible things that you're getting from that. The speakers would be specifically on, I'm going to say the same things over again, and that would be Blush Lux.
Looks, that makes sense.
WOW is a community event and the Blush Lux is a ticket-driven individual experience.
Awesome.
So I have another question. That's a great answer for that. Thank you. You said brunch with this event. Where's the brunch? Because I'm really venue driven. You may have identified that. I want to see when somebody comes in, we show them a variety of different businesses. Where is brunch going?
That I don't know yet. And actually I was looking at where she had that last year. So that's important to me too. I have a few not pop-up vendors, but vendors able to share that don't have spaces. So I want to be able to put them in certain places as well. Like the Union Knot actually is a space where brunch could be held. And then we could have the makeup classes being done off-site, like at the Talawana Hall. So it can move around like that. That I just haven't plugged in yet. But I do know that there's enough venues around that I don't think that that's necessarily a problem.
Could you partner with, so the places that come to mind are Lazy Susan, the Wayfarer, well, Pig and Pancake's not really exactly self-care kind of a place, but those two places, could you partner with them and say there's a brunch there and here? I'm thinking and worrying about the local restaurants that are already there rather than looking for a caterer to go to the Union Knot, although the caterer is important too, because those people.
The caterers too, like hors d'oeuvres at a certain event and stuff, but then you're still gonna get your main, food at these different places. So what we were looking at, that's more of a WOW driven venue because that's about community as well, where maybe we were talking to different people where they will do a discount during this time for certain services for food.
So your ticket, that you buy a ticket to this and, okay.
Did that answer your question? I don't have a venue.
So that's to be determined.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have one picked out as of yet.
That's perfectly fine.
I think when I was talking like a brunch and mimosa bar, it's like, you can do that ahead of time. So it's more continental type. Yeah.
Bridget on WOW, I'm sorry. Do you have any reason to believe the food pantry is not going to come on board on their June?
No, I don't. Actually, I've spoken to those wonderful women. It just was their board meeting was offset from when I did this.
Yeah.
And they need to get it approved.
But it looks positive to you, right? I mean, okay.
Because they're getting their own 501c3 finally is what I,
Yes.
finally.
Yeah.
So they're out from underneath the church.
Yes. So
It's like alcohol,
That's on the,
not like alcohol.
on the record twice. Damn it, Jenna.
I do have that Greg Bell said ban.
No, okay. And snapped his finger
Again.
again. Twice now. And he was late by an hour.
That is a minute.
I figured.
And the recording.
Yeah, that's right.
Again.
YouTube,
Yep. Instagram, Facebook.
forever.
Your shame is there forever.
Yeah, forever. Yeah. But I made it for Bridget's presentation.
Yes. Love these ideas.
Me too. I'm excited about both of these. Yep.
Man, that's all I can say.
It's such a great
Yep.
for people to bring in.
And I'll say it again. I know it's a ton of work, Bridget. So really, seriously, thank you for taking it
You knew what you were taking.
and doing something with it. Because it used to be, we've funded that event many times and it was always successful. So it's really glad. It's really nice to see it back. Yeah.
Love to see.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Get big. So, yeah, I think you can look up who some of the guest speakers, they're always coming in of who they are and who we're going to have around. I just would like to have more than less. I think we can then broaden our expanse to what different people need during some of these events. So, yeah. Oh, and so we've got like soul collage classes, paint and sip classes, like all of these to be at different.
Are you involved in the paint and sip?
Evening time,
There's an-
evening paint sips.
Right over there.
And like there's a lot of places to go.
What a venue.
Done paint and sip before.
Yep. He's already got the liquor license at least. so.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
What I've just found is that there is an amazing amount of female-driven businesses here, and it's
Yeah.
Hmm.
really inspiring.
Yeah.
So I have learned a lot in doing this. It's been great.
I would say it's really well-run female businesses.
They are.
Like, it's been great. Everyone I've spoken to has just been phenomenal. So it's been wonderful. And thanks for allowing me to do that, actually. I mean, the money with all of that has helped all that. So it's great.
Fabulous.
Anything else?
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bridget.
Have a great day, guys.
You too, Bridget. Oh, Briar Rose, you care about her.
Oh, thank you.
Let's see, let's do this. We got the chamber. Side.
Jeff had a meeting at 2, and so that's why we took the 2:45 spot.
Where's we have 15 minutes.
We got some minutes. Should we pause?
Right. 2:45. Right. Okay. I'll submit it after.
We have 14 minutes. We had an earlier discussion after all three of them.
I appreciate it. Thank you for getting me involved with the organization.
You're very welcome.
Did read about it.
What board meeting? Chamber?
Jim, do you want us to?
Good morning.
Yes, let's go ahead and
I thought,
in action, folks.
Okay.
I'm not sure if we're ready to be back in action because we're supposed to start at 2:45 and that's when I told
Oh,
to join us.
oh, the people
You-
coming?
Yeah, I have 3 different people that I'm hoping will be online to help. Bob here and the list I gave you.
Nobody's on yet.
Nobody's on yet?
Can we talk about any of them?
We could go to the video or the sign.
Job, Julie.
Good call.
Trying to be efficient.
Videos or signs? Video or signs? Which one?
Yeah, let's talk about signs.
Okay.
It was in her
A
signs.
lot of money.
So welcome signs.
Jim Pano is here for the chamber. We're going to start with some of his applications. We had to take note that these arrived a little bit after the deadline. We discussed that this morning. Just wanted to call it to your attention.
Yes, that was a copier issue, trying to get them put into PDFs to email them. That was all on our side. We turned in 15 minutes late because the copier went into its little.
This is the welcome sign, name of the
Okay,
event.
that's one.
Yeah, it's under the name of the event.
Why?
What were the 2 that we can talk about?
The videos and signs.
Okay, gotcha.
There we go. Got stuck. There we go. Got it, Julie. I caught up.
Gotcha.
Actually, I'd like to talk about the sign one first. To see what your logic, why this is an application to this committee as opposed to the city general fund.
Press that. Yeah.
So I can tell you, this was identified several years back, probably 5 years ago, that when the first sign on the south end of town fell down, it was something that we wanted to move forward with, and we approached the city about how to do that. And at that time, Court was here and we were figuring out what the proper procedure was. So we brought that idea to this council and we're told to take that to the Parks Committee, which we went and made a presentation to the Parks Committee. And that's kind of where it disappeared at. It hasn't been brought up again for several years. I had a file in my drawer about it, just that we need to do it, not any more specifics. So looking at the sign on the north end now, that looks like it's about to fall down anytime. We figure now is a good time to get started on getting new signs.
I thought it got hit. It looked so bad. I thought someone had hit it.
Nope.
Yeah, it's
It's rot. It's rot. Yeah.
seen better days for sure.
Yeah.
So in preparing this request and why we brought it to the TAC is, people in this town know that they're home and they don't need a sign to tell them we're in Cannon Beach. If you came to town right now and you didn't know where Cannon Beach was, you might go by it because it says protect our community. not welcome to Cannon Beach. So we certainly want something that says welcome to Cannon Beach to all of our visitors that are coming. And that's why we brought it before the TAC committee, because a sign to town is one of the first impressions that people are going to get when they get here. I think that that's an important aspect that needs to be addressed.
So did it die in parks because they don't have any money?
I think initially, probably several years ago, so I'm not exactly sure why it didn't go anywhere, but it hasn't. So
I wonder if it makes sense to, I don't even know if this is possible, something that we could partner with parks on and go halvesies
There you go.
or something like that, because I do think it's important. I can't tell you how many people come into my shop and during our shop hops, which are always in the winter, you'll get like, I didn't see any sign. I mean, and I know there's signs because I've driven all the way and I know both ways that there are signs, but the ones that were there, not the official city signs, but the nice, welcome, they were impossible to, they've always been, in my opinion, kind of bad. They were not really easy to read. I didn't even really notice them. So it would be nice to have ones that are easy to like, welcome to Cannon Beach. So people who are driving, it's like, oh, well, let's start watching for signs because they don't. But at the same time, that's a lot of money for something that definitely doesn't put heads in beds. But it does seem like it is something that works for tourism so that people know it's a welcoming thing. But it does seem like a lot of money that would be for us and not for the city to cough up some money as well. I don't know, just my thought when I read the thing was my first, I wonder if we can go halvesies.
Well, and I think it fits not only on the tourism aspect, but if we find one of our local artists to make it an art piece that represents our community, it can kind of fit under the art aspect too. If it's something that is really cool and artistic and represents Cannon Beach is what I hope for, then I think it kind of fits on two purposes.
Good point.
If you go down the coast and see other communities, those signs really are unique to each town. And so that's something I hope we can create for Cannon Beach too.
I think, and full disclosure, I didn't know anything about this from my chamber relationship. We've talked about it in the past, I think, long years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of having the art community come out and collaborate on something that's really cool. I mean, you just go to the seaside and I personally think their prom thing with the light post is really cool. Tells you a little something about their town. And you go down the coast and Walport has a pretty cool one and some other ones. The
Seaside.
Yeah, Seaside is great. The one, and then they had now their little updated one has more of the horses and stuff. But just the prom and the light post for me is the cool piece. But my point on this was the lens at which I look through our charter and how to spend tourism related funds. To me, this kind of thing, just like the bandstand in the park, even though that didn't really get used out of TAC funds, this is a perfect example of something that we can get done in the city with these funds that, we're going to have so much marketing money cobbled together. If you count, this is a discussion we had last time. If you count the school and TAC and what's the other one, or the other bucket I'm missing? Oh, the county. Well, the county is the school.
Yeah. County, the 1% and the 1%.
Yeah. And so
1%.
So finding ways to do some projects that the community all can kind of get behind, not saying everyone is behind this, but and say, hey, that was a good use of money because we've had a rotten old sign with 3 logs for 12, 15, 20 years. And let's get something creative and let's get something artistic and stuff. Whether it's 70,000 is the number, I have no idea, and at some point in time, we imagine the labor would be public works to some extent. So that is kind of going in halvesies.
That's true.
And the machines they use and things like that. But to get it done and to have it actually completed in this decade would be something, a good thing. So the idea and the concept I'm all for
Jim, in your RFP, would the RFP suggest that the city would be involved in doing some of the labor to put the thing up? Or is it, with the RFP, you're looking for a contract to do the whole thing?
Ideally, I think we would look for a contractor to do the whole thing because we want it to be completed and finished.
I got.
Get it to a point and then stall it.
The city.
Right, yeah. So I'm assuming you wouldn't say to the potential contractors, we have a $70,000 budget, please give us an RFP, right? You're just putting it out for RFP and see what we get.
Yeah. But the RFP will be, inclusive of start to finish.
Yeah, I got it. Yep.
Everything.
Removal. Yeah.
At this point, it's really hard to determine how that's going to work because ideally, in my mind, we find a local artist that can design it for us and give us the character of Cannon Beach. Then you're probably going to look at a different construction contractor that can actually build it.
Make it.
Almost two RFP.
Make it so.
Almost two.
Probably twofold.
Yeah. Two RFP type things, right?
Yeah.
Artistic RFP and then a construction, something like that.
And really, my thought on the artistic part of it is to get the community involved. If we can get 2 or 3, 4 artistic options and put that out to the community to vote on which one's their favorite, then we're doing and finding the one that represents our community. And once we have that, then it's just the building process and getting it done. And the way we came up with the number on that is we went to 2 different communities locally that we know, and I mentioned in there, Seaside was at
City of Banks and
35,000 for both of theirs, but that was pre-COVID. And they have the forms and everything for their pillars and columns and stuff. So I'm pretty sure they did a lot of that in-house for the basics. And then when we went to Banks, now they stepped up a little bit. They're doing it, running power to theirs and doing some other stuff. But they're only doing one sign on the highway for their community, and theirs is at $60,000. So we're just like, with construction costs going up, concerned about that. So we wanted to make sure that we had enough to cover the materials and everything that would be involved in that.
Jim, I saw lighting in the budget. Is there power already up there or no?
There's not. And in fact, it's kind of 2 parts, because on the north end, that's in the state right of way for the highway. So that has very specific rules, which doesn't allow for power. But I think on the south end, it's on city property, if I'm not mistaken. So that might have the option. I don't foresee doing 2 separate signs. Like they should be the same, I think.
I agree.
There's no allowing of power? Could you do one of the solar
I was
things?
going to say the same thing.
So you're not plugging it in, but you
Solar.
have the little solar thing that could light it?
We would have to run that through both
Okay,
forms.
Good idea though.
yeah. I mean, it seems like an easy.
I didn't want to leave it out and then find out it was possible after the.
Yeah.
I think you should explore it.
I'm trying making sure we incorporate everything.
Seaside's lit at night. Are they lit?
They have the.
I think
lights on the top,
Yeah.
and I think it's a little backlit on the seaside part too.
Looks good.
Well, and the thing that I like is driving home and seeing people stopped on the side taking selfies with them. And I would love for our signs to be as attractive.
I've seen the same thing. They do it all the time at the relief pitcher. They stop there all the time. Yeah.
Yep.
I will say those signs are, whoever did them it's everything that's perfectly emblematic of Seaside. They did such a great job on those signs. They're so not us, but
That's totally Seaside.
man, it is just perfect for Seaside.
It really captured the city.
Yep.
So remember we had the proposal for Keep Cannon Beach Clean pamphlets or something like that. And I said, why are we paying for that? Why isn't that coming out of the city fund? And then you convinced me that it's a tourism and arts type thing. And I'm looking at you because you're the one that convinced me.
This, to me, falls under the same kind of category as the work we did at the park, right? It's to the benefit of the community.
Agreed.
It includes a tourism component. And the city stepped up and brought funds to that, but they weren't just going to do it without being prodded.
To be pushed, yeah.
And I think the same thing is here. And now instead of us prodding, the chamber's prodding, it's kind of like it's been long enough, right? We're going to watch that sign fall over on the north end sooner or later. It's closer every day. And I I think that the chamber is stepping up and just saying, let's really take advantage, or let's make this change. And let's do this.
And this could be phase one, where we look at doing the artistic RFP, get it out there, get an idea from the community what we want and follow through with that, because I'm not sure how long that'll take. It'll probably take multiple years to get that done. So I just wanted to get it out there and include everything so that we could consider all the options.
Any questions? Cool. Oh,
I see Bob's on the line, so we could do the Culinary Fest.
Which one do you want to do, Jim?
We can do the Culinary Fest.
Okay.
I'm here. Hi.
Welcome, Bob.
Everybody looks healthy and apart.
Wow, you got a new system in here, don't you?
Yeah, the speakers.
We had our COVID passports checked at the door.
Which artist designed them?
I'd like to know who that was, actually.
My first question is, you have $31,000 that was awarded for last year for this event for 2022, and you need an additional 40.
Correct. So last year we applied because we were looking at the timing. We weren't sure what the timing was going to be, whether that was going to carry forward through this year or whether there was going to be another process for that. And we spent a lot of time working in the off season. Once we got the grant application planning and preparing for that, we've hired Tracy Abel to be the event coordinator for this event. And Bob, of course, is very instrumental in making this happen too. So we looked at the budget and plan and what we have in place and identified that we need to ask for additional funds to make that event come off, because, you know, while will be the second Culinary Fest, the first one was pre-COVID and quite some time ago. And, you know, it kind of feels like we're starting from scratch again. And we need to really come out of the gate with a great event that we can promote very well. And so we've incorporated all of that into the request here.
So, and some, if I may add, some of that is we're looking to make some purchases that are one-time purchases that not only benefit the Culinary Fest, but the chamber as well. Case in point, Sunday night, we are doing a movie, a culinary focused movie, Sunday afternoon, that'll culminate at a dinner at EVOO that will be based around the movie. So we're looking at The Big Night, which is an Italian feast created for an opera star back in the 70s, 60s. And then that whole menu that they do will be replicated at EVOO. So we are looking at possibly purchasing the projection system, since we can't seem to find to make that work in Seaside at the brewery/theater. And we feel that, and Jim and Buddy thought it was possibly a good purchase for the chamber for future events. There'll also be a screen involved, and we'll look at possibly some additional AV. So part of what we're trying to do with some of the funding that we're asking is to make more of those one-time purchases, so we can put on a class event. I guess another example would be some pipe and drape and some tablecloths, et cetera, that can be stored at the chamber, including some glassware for the Friday night wine tasting. So those types of things that we've usually rented in the past. When we started doing the numbers, it made much more sense to do a one-time purchase as opposed to continuing to rent each year and having that money just get down the drain.
Jim,
Is that broken out? Is that projection system in here somewhere?
neither.
Yeah.
Looking at the
Hold on, get
rentals,
budgeted.
merchandise, yeah, it's.
Decor.
So when I'm told.
It would be included in the big night Sunday.
Night Sunday,
3,600. Dollars.
Mhm.
A portion
Yeah.
of that is the projection system.
Some of that is, as well as that 4,000 in equipment. It's kind of spread out a few places. You've got $2,500 in rentals. I can say, just taking a quick glance at this, about 15,000 of the budget number right now that's currently there would be covered under one-time purchases, and they wouldn't be a reoccurring expense. But as far as Jim might have to answer it better, but some of these other things, if you want to drill down, I'm not sure that's in the budget that I'm looking at. I don't see any notes that tie back to that. I just know from the notes from our culinary meetings.
On the income for the movie would be 1,500 then. So it's a separate ticket for the movie. And for the movie expenses is some portion, because you're gonna have to get the rights to the movie?
Correct.
That's a $600 expense, yeah.
Is it $600?
But it doesn't say
Sure?
rights, it just says $600.
You know that for sure, because there's issues with that movie.
Yeah, no, what we know from Buddy, and if Buddy was here, she could speak better, but Buddy had been working with Seaside, with the brewery. And they've had difficulty in general trying to lock the movie down. We've got actually several movies that we're looking at, so we have a plan B, C, and D. We just know that there's a range. Did you say Buddy's on the phone call?
Yes.
Oh, go ahead, Buddy, sorry.
Yeah, I'm here. So yeah, Bob, correct. So what we were doing for the previous year is we were working with Carrie over at the Times Theater, and we were hoping to lock in one of like about 3 choices. And the situation that they came down to is that they were having a very hard time being able to get the rights to them. So that is why we had the conversation about looking into maybe trying to produce the video ourselves on a projector, something that we could purchase and utilize for the chamber for other events. But it really comes down to is whether or not we're going to be able to find those rights and be able to get the rights. And typically in the past, depending on, like when I was at the library, we paid about $300, $350 for a nonprofit use. And that use included a lot of different movies. I'm not sure if The Big Night was one of them allowed in that package, but we are a nonprofit. So that is something that we're looking into. And then of course, we've talked to other cities, like Astoria didn't charge for theirs in their park. And so they paid somewhere between about $300 and $600, depending on the movie, to be able to play their movie because they weren't charging for it. So there's different avenues that we can take, and we're going to be looking into all of that.
Yeah, in the past too, we did the 30th anniversary Goonies at the theater, and the rights to show that was $300. So there's
issues with this movie. I'm just warning you that it's going to be expensive to get the rights to that movie and charge a ticket price to be able to come in and see it, even if you're a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So I would definitely ask to make sure, because I thought Big Night Sunday, the $3,600 is probably, that's probably the rights.
Oh.
I may be wrong, but there's issues with that movie in particular.
So Newman's does a big night meal too.
Yeah, but they don't show it.
No, they don't show it. But I'm just wondering, like, are we getting close to when Newman does that same event where they do all the courses and the wine pairings with it? It would just be something to make sure that, because they've been doing that for years and years and years.
Yeah, it's a great comment. John has been working alongside with us because he's one of the pop-up dinners, and he's not commented on that at all. And we communicate fairly often.
Okay.
I will check in with him. But on that same note, we're looking at Ratatouille, Julie and Julia. We've got quite a list. So we're not locked into The Big Night. It's one of my favorites, and I love Stanley Tucci. But if it doesn't work out, we can figure that out.
I just want to be cognizant of the fact that they've been doing that for a long time, and I don't want to get too close with that.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
John's involved. That's fine.
That's right. So I'm usually slow on this. So the 31K from last year, is that still in the bank, not spent? Is that what?
We've spent little bits of that.
Okay.
But
Yeah, the rest of it.
majority of it's still in
In the bank.
In the bank, your bank.
Yeah, I was trying to think of a better way to say that, but yeah.
All right. So it's a $71,000 event.
There was one thing that didn't make a lot of sense to me, and that was the number of room nights.
Yeah, I have that circled too.
79 Total room nights.
It's actually 150 because it's two people
Oh, yeah, times 2.
times
So
two.
75.
It should be 150 room nights.
Okay.
Yeah, because I circled that too.
Yep.
I wrote that 187, 150 to 187, so 75 just seemed really low to me, so I just wanted.
It's 150 nights because what you're doing is couples, which I get, but you're hoping that they're going to stay 2 nights, right?
Right.
That's
Correct.
150 room nights. So,
And that's on the low side because it's a Friday, obviously the event starts Friday night. And one of the reasons we're doing a Sunday night event is to encourage that Sunday night stay over. So that's the conservative number. We're hoping for the 3-night stay.
yep.
Jim, I'm sorry, I don't remember this. Is this the same weekend in March that the original one happened 2 years ago?
That was in May.
Was it in May?
Yeah.
Okay,
And then we moved this up.
okay. It doesn't conflict with anything in March? Nothing, right? You would know, Julie. That's why I always look at you.
Looks like, well,
No,
you read the Saver,
Past,
there's in October again.
Oh, right.
in the past, it would have conflicted with Saver.
But they went to October.
Already confirmed with Gary that
That's right.
he wasn't using that date. It was okay to use it. We didn't want to step on any toes. And
Got it.
so we've clarified.
That makes
We-
sense.
We additionally clarified with Gary that we want to make sure that he was comfortable that the fact that we were doing the wine tasting food event Friday night, that he didn't feel like it was getting too close to what he was doing. And again, he gave us the thumbs up, said, no, it sounds great. Go for it. We just, again, we're as you already pointed out on a couple occasions already here, we're very sensitive to all that. And because there are a lot of established events and or things happening at both individual restaurants and as a community.
So can you guys clarify to me how I'm not getting how other restaurants are participating in this?
Sure.
Am I just
You want
not
me to-
understanding it?
So if,
Yes, or venue.
And you meant Steve.
yeah, if it's all right, I'll go through the actual agenda, which hopefully will shed light on the whole thing. So Friday night is part, thank you. Friday night is part of the welcome reception. When people come to the chamber to receive their stuff, we decided to make that an event. So it's not just, a sterile pick it up and leave, even though we had things planned. It's been turned into a food and wine event with live jazz music. We're using wineries from the Valley and even in Puffin Wines as well. Cathedral Ridge, J. Scott from J. Scott Wineries, et cetera. And each of those chefs will be local chefs that'll be paired with them. And the idea there is I've spoken to a couple of chefs in town because everything we're doing, we want to make sure that it doesn't feel like an ask with another ask of a chef that really takes them away from their business. And so it was made clear that if we gave them, and I feel good about it, I believe it's $1.50 a bite based on 150 bites plus a $200 stipend for coming. Each chef of the 5 or 6 chefs that are going to be there will be receiving those funds. The wineries are comfortable doing it without any funding because they're going to have the ability to sell their product there. So it's a win-win all around. We're not charging for that event because it is the kickoff event. I'm hoping in the future we will be able to, but again, it feels like it's the first year because there's been such a distance between our inaugural event and where we are today. Then
So
we go
people
in-
will have to come and pick up their ticket or lanyard or whatever to get them into the other thing. So they have to show up.
Correct. Correct.
Gotcha.
Now, and we
Swag
believe
bag.
they're swag bags, yeah. And we believe they're going to stay clearly because they're going to get there and it's going to be live jazz. It's going to be a happening event. So why wouldn't they want to come and stay? So we're confident they will. And then, so that's Friday night. Saturday kicks in with a series of workshops, including a truffle hunt. We've got a beekeeper. You've got the list in front of you, either Jim or Buddy. You can go through those more definitely. But again, those venues all around town with participating businesses who feel it's within everybody's interest, both the workshop and the business, to have people come and see who they are. And just as a good example, we wanted to do an olive oil tasting. And Paul Durant and Ken Durant and us have been friends for a while from the Oregon Olive Mill. And we didn't want to step on Shelley's toes. So I put a call out to Shelley at the oil and vinegar bar. And, you know, it was one of those great conversations you have in a community where she was like, oh my God, I can't believe you're calling me to ask me. That's awesome. She said, I thought you'd be upset with me because when we moved here, I thought we were going to take business away from you. And I said, no. I mean, so it was one of those give and takes. And she said, no, I would love to have them. Can I come? Because I'd love to learn more about olive oil. So it's one of those great things that happen as part of this. Anyway, the workshops culminate all day long. There are 20 to 25 people. There'll be a whiskey workshop at McGregor's. There's a beer and food pairing at Public Coast. So it's very, very community driven. Then in the evening, there are going to be 2 progressive dinners, one downtown, one midtown. Downtown will consist of EVOO, Jack at the Bistro, and Castaways. And there will be 20 people that'll arrive at 5 o'clock at each of the 3 restaurants. And then at 6:30, everybody gets to the second restaurant and then the third. So in other words, using myself as an example, I will have 20 people at 5 o'clock, 20 new people at 6:30, and 20 new people at 8. And each restaurant will be doing the same thing. And then in Midtown, and then
receiving the guests, but not the same menu.
Yeah, everybody will have their own menu, but each be receiving the guests. So by the time that progressive is done, 60 people will have had dinner at EVOO, at the Bistro, and at Castaways. And then in Midtown, we're utilizing the Pelican, John Newman, and then John Sawa is coming back and going to do a pop-up restaurant of what he used to do at the Cannon Beach Hotel. So Claudia is opening up her kitchen to John. So we've got 3 restaurants there as well. So all in all, 120 people will participate in the Saturday night. The kicker of that, which I'm really enjoying, is at the end of that, they will all culminate at the Chocolate Cafe, where that's where they're getting their dessert, as well as a gift certificate. I believe it's for $10 to come back and enjoy some additional chocolate. So that's Saturday. Sunday morning, there's a brunch at the James Beard House. And that will be a local caterer. We're soliciting requests from local caterers, both here and in Seaside, but we're hoping that somebody locally will want to do it. That'll then follow the movie, whichever the movie is, followed by dinner at EVOO. So if I'm answering your question directly, 6 restaurants are being impacted literally for the pop-up, for the progressive dinner. And we're wanting 5 additional restaurants for Friday night. And it may be somebody who does catering and or restaurant or both. We're just trying to include as many as possible in this. And everybody's being compensated from their perspective and ours comfortably for their time.
Oh, no worries. Let's right up there.
I'm sorry?
You're hearing auxiliary stuff. Is the big night dinner, I'm just calling it that, that's Sunday?
Correct.
Gotcha.
Oh, James Beard House. That's brunch.
Does the truffle hunt take people away from Cannon Beach?
No,
going into
it
the
actually, no. It's kind of interesting. So just as a quick aside, I have a 10-month-old standard poodle who is in her final trainings to be a truffle dog, and we're using the skate park area just behind the chamber. We're burying them. So we're staging the truffle hunt, and she's finding them. And so I'm working with somebody who does that. And it's no different on a hunt versus staging it. It's all about the visual, because quite frankly, once you bury the truffle, even as the person burying them, I can't tell you where I put them. The dog usually tells me.
Doesn't have a pig doing it. He's using a dog.
I used to use a pig, but
Used to use a pig. Now we're in a dog.
yeah.
But
now
they
these-
ate them.
But the pigs used to eat them.
So ask them if they think that's enough of the town being beautiful.
Is there a comfortability that we are utilizing as many people as possible, or is there still a concern that we're not as inclusive as we should be?
I don't have a concern about that.
No, it seems fairly well spread. Encouraging active participation. It'll be interesting to see if there are other individuals who would love to jump onto the bandwagon to participate. But there seems to be an adequate, cross-section of the community participating.
If you think a little forward, it'll probably rotate year after year, to spread the wealth. Or maybe we add another tour to it. So there's 2 downtown, or, I mean, the options are kind of endless if you look forward about including everybody who wants to participate.
And
Yeah, in addition to that, Jim, it's a great comment. In addition to that, if you do the math, you realize there's still some people who, if they don't book early, can't participate, which offers the opportunity for yet one more progressive if we need to. But it also frees people up who don't want to do a progressive to dine in town elsewhere.
Brings people to town.
Yeah, and that's going to bring people to town for sure. We've also, just as an aside, I'm not sure it's as important, but I think it is. We are talking a lot about not doing a package. Packages have a tendency, especially something like this, to get confusing for the people who are buying them versus, letting them do it a la carte. The price point for these events aren't inexpensive, but they're definitely driven at foodies. We think that the number is very attainable, the number of attendees. We certainly could have done a larger event for less money, but, if I look at Sabre and some of the other events that have been successful, there's been kind of a ramp up to get to where they are. And even if we use our own business model as an example, it doesn't happen overnight, but if people like what they're seeing as the event curriculum or schedule, it's going to bring them there, and hopefully, again and again, and then we can start looking at supply and demand and maybe raising the price. I'm still convinced in a couple of years, this won't be a conversation with TAC, because I do believe either through funding, through sponsorship or other sources, we won't need the TAC money.
What are you anticipating the ticket price to be?
It's a la carte, right?
Is it a la carte?
Yeah,
It is, yes.
So if I wanted to do the progressive dinner, how much would it cost me?
The progressive dinner is ish. I believe it was $100 a person.
Does that include wine?
Oh, yeah. Each restaurant is getting, actually, let me take it back. No, buddy, Jim, you have that in front of you. I'm saying 100, but why am I thinking it's 199?
It is one.
Lenore's correcting me. It's 190. Pardon me.
200 with wine. That makes more.
Okay, yeah, it's without wine, it's $100.
Yeah, no, it's
200.
200. It's with wine. Yeah, because each restaurant is getting $50, $50 or $60, and they're responsible for providing a full entree and a beverage. Castaways, obviously, they do custom drinks and things. The brewery will do probably 2 or 3 beers because they want to introduce their product. So it's quite extensive. And then the Chocolate Cafe is doing their dessert component for $15. And then we're doing a $10 gift certificate for everybody. So yeah. And I think the chamber made $20 on it when all is said and done. The math is squishy in my head, but it's about $190 per person.
Okay.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And again, if it sounds like it's a lot, I'm not sure if it does or doesn't. What I find in these types of events is someone who attends them, which is why we're going a la carte. They might want to do that. Progressive sounds cool, and maybe I'll do a workshop and call it good. Well, that's still a good chunk of money we're receiving, and they're staying overnight. So it's heads and beds. We are at, it was a difficult decision for EVOO, but we went to 180 as the pandemic came on because of all the additional costs, and we're almost 100% organic, and the expense was off the charts. And we were kind of shocked when nobody complained. We expected some kind of a discussion and we're prepared for it. But I think people are seeing more than ever that things cost more than they did. And if you want to have a really good event, it may cost that much. And people are certainly buying experiences more than stuff, it seems.
It's experience.
Yes, that's right.
So in other words, so the progressive dinner, let's say 199. So like the truffle class, you would buy that separate. The tastings, the only thing that's going to be free is essentially that little taste around on Friday.
Correct.
Okay. And I'm assuming you're going to take pains to not have that fill people up too much, so they'll go to dinner?
Yeah, that's the hope. And so, yes. Yeah, and I'm the one in charge of making sure that the progressive dinners don't have overlap. So not every chef is doing salmon as an example. And so that there's variety. I'm also the one responsible to make sure that the caterers, who's ever providing the food, is spending, they're going to get $1.50. I'm not asking for invoices because I want them to enjoy the process as much. And if they have to start, being nickel and dime, they won't. But I think as the chef chair, I want to know what they're doing ahead of time. If I'm giving $1.50 a bite, I don't want to see a mushroom cap stuffed with cheese. That'll be the last time they do something with us. So that everybody's going to be bringing it, if you will.
Was it just
Yeah.
mushroom?
I mean, if it was I guess, yeah, to be fair, if it was a truffle stuffed with, Taleggio cheese, I shouldn't complain. But,
I'll take that. You don't want, I'll take it, Bob.
You got it.
Go ahead.
It's a big number, and I had all kinds of trepidation the first year they did this. And it was awesome. So I have more confidence this go around. But it is like starting over.
It is like starting over, but it's still just 150 attendees, I guess is my concern. And so this is an additional $30,000 for the same amount of people. So it's still kind of concerning to me that it's still just a lot of money. But
15,000.
we will see.
Future.
Yeah. And I hear you, and I certainly respect what you're saying. And if you need a little bit more detail, we can get that to you. I did want to just reiterate that from my perspective, and I'm using 15 as just a plug at this point because I don't have it in front of me, that a good portion of that money is for one-time purchases, so we don't do it again every year. I hate renting because it's just money down the drain.
I'm with you on that. I guess from helping with Savor, there was discussion about us buying linens. But then the discussion of where are we going to put them and launder them. Keep in mind that there's a laundry issue when you buy linens. The projection, I'm all behind that. That would be an interesting thing for the city to own. But just be aware that laundry is, you have to wash those damn things and they're big. So.
Yeah, no, and Julie, that's a great point. And in fairness, when I'm talking linens, I was just going through in my head the line items. We were talking 3 bistro tables. We weren't talking a major expense there. It's more the AV, the glassware, small B&B plates, small forks, those types of things that we're hoping are one-time purchases.
So as the event would own those in the custody of the chamber, or how does that work?
Well, yeah, it's up to Jim and Buddy. From my
Or is it
perspective,
chamber?
the chamber would own
Who
them
owns
for the
it?
chamber.
You might have to help them store it.
And as far as storage goes, we do have some storage in the kitchen used for that. But we also have a storage unit we use for all of our events. So if we need space, we have space for that. We just added that
Storing the.
last year.
Yep. Okay.
And I have a question for the group. From my perspective, buying things that the chamber can use in several different capacities is not a bad thing, as long as we're tracking its usage. So if we had to come back to TAC and say, well, we need another 5,000, and you say, well, you bought glasses last time. Well, they were used by 10 different events on 10 different occasions, would make credible the request in my mind, because they've been done, and then it's a replacement. Is that good logic from your perspective?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, do we have any precedent of purchasing items for festivals? I can't think
Since I've been on this,
off the top of my head.
but
Don't think
It's hard to
so.
know.
Yeah, that is hard to know.
I have a question.
Purchasing stuff for Tolovana Arts Association, because they're just remodeling. But that's not the same kind of
Construction
useful thing. It's lighting, carpeting, and that kind of stuff. It's a different item.
longer lifespan too. What I worry about electronics is they get old in a hurry. That's all. You buy a projector and 2 years later, there's a lot better ones on the market.
There was stuff for Savor that was, one was scaffolding for signage.
I remember that.
and maybe some of his bistro tables with the little condoms.
Condoms.
They're called condoms. The little table things that would go over them. And I think that might have been in his budget, if I remember correctly. So there's some. And that's just for him versus
Sabre
this.
also Bought glasses
They did.
to sell glasses, right?
Yes, so he had some to sell and he had the ones that he stores up in his
Right.
place.
Right.
So, but so he has plain one. No, do they all have logos on them? No.
No, they
Some
don't.
of them are plain.
They're plain.
Oh, they're plain because of the wine competition.
That's right.
That's right. Okay. So he also had some to sell, but then he also has the other ones that he also uses for the wine competition.
Which have to be replaced from time to
Oh,
time.
yeah, we.
Just heard. Bob was just saying, yeah.
So,
I don't know.
The wine competition isn't funded.
nope,
No.
Right, but it's for Sabre for the wine walk,
right.
that,
Those were sold with the ticket.
those are sold with the ticket.
Yes.
Some of that funding comes through here.
Yes.
to Purchase those.
That buy
Yes.
originally.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he turns around.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, your point is a good one, Greg, which is electronics.
Computers and things like that, they get old in a hurry, that's
They
all.
do.
That's all.
But it isn't, I mean, I'd be interested in somebody in the know because I don't know anything about
But a
electronics.
projector might
Could a projector last for 5 years?
probably last, yeah, probably it's a little bit different than a
Maybe.
computer, but
I mean, it is an interesting idea. You know, who you might want to talk to is what does Martin do? Well, they're not doing Thursday. Well, as far as I know, are they doing their Thursday night?
in the
things?
park.
The movie?
They haven't done that for years.
Oh, they haven't.
And,
Well, I knew
and
they did
if I,
last year.
yeah,
Yeah.
if I may, that's what started this whole conversation. When it was Ryan and team, we asked the question if we could use the projector. Buddy was really good about getting that request in, and they said yes. But they also kind of said the reality is there's so much going on with the new management company. Yes, today may not be yes when you need it. And it was said much more politically correct than I'm saying it. But the bottom line is we use that as an example, and we use their information to get pricing on what it would cost. And we realized, I think, Buddy, again, what was it, like $600 for a movie projector and screen?
Yes, give or take.
rent.
about-
To rent.
To rent.
It depends on if you get a stationary or you get the inflatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To rent.
That's to rent, right, Bob?
I was under the impression that was to buy, but
Oh.
Buddy, correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh,
At
it's own.
No.
purchase, you can get a screen for $200-300, like a pull down screen, or you can get an inflatable for give or take between like $200 and $400, depending on the quality.
Find
Yeah.
it on Amazon.
The projectors,
Yeah,
it used to be $1,500 for about 700 now. Well, maybe not now, but they were going down.
Right, yeah. Yeah, who knows now?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know the prices have come down significantly, but again, it goes back to anytime we're looking to make a purchase, the Tracy, myself, Lenore, and Emily look to Jim and Buddy to say, if we bought this, do you guys have multiple uses for it, or is it just the festival? And quite frankly, it's not making, if it's just for the festival, it doesn't make sense.
Do you have additional uses for it, Jim? The chamber can use it for?
Once you have the equipment, you find uses for it.
Okay.
I would love to see movies in the park,
I would too.
even in our hall, if that's what we can.
Might be able to.
Trying to do that for-
Wedding people. I mean, they may want to run a video or something.
Absolutely.
Inflatable screen is $200
Oh, there you go. Then buy it. Yeah.
on Amazon.
Yep.
Okay.
Then buy it. Yep.
Petty cash.
Petty cash. That's right.
Yep.
Okay.
If we do movies in the park, I'll help you. One of my favorite things.
I just bought two.
You just bought
Oh, good. Well, you like borrow your place. Steve Alonia is.
You know, rented for 300 each.
That's right.
Run out of questions. Yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead. I know the event was successful the last time I ran it, and I was very pleasantly surprised because I was concerned that was going to tank, but it went great. Up to Bob's credit, and the whole team.
Well, I give Bob a lot of credit. He's very thorough and detailed and runs a tight ship on it. So
It showed.
Thanks, Bob.
Well, thank you. But
Lenore, for
it
running
is a team
tight
effort
ship.
after all. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Videos are
Let's move.
Have a preferred,
Fat bike?
Oh, that's right, video.
We can move.
On the line for fat bike?
Video. Or fat bite.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
thank you, Bob.
Bye-bye.
So I saw Daniela is on the line.
Jesus, why am I having so?
Rides and events, and they contracted to help run Fat Bike for us, and they do an amazing job. I have to apologize to Daniela right off the bat. I have asked my staff to bring us the scavenger hunt card so you guys can all see it. I forgot to grab those when I left the office. So I'm hoping they'll arrive shortly.
Right out of the gate.
Apology to her, because she really wanted me to make sure you guys saw them, and I will make sure you see them.
Who would like to see?
So Fat Bike, of course, we did Fat Bike during COVID and all the restrictions that went along with it. So we were limited to really a max of 50 people, and we hit that max pretty quick and had a great event. So I'll let Daniela tell you everything that happened this year. The event.
Hi there, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Wonderful. So can you see me as well or no?
For a second.
Russ won't let us do that.
Oh, okay.
There she is.
Aha,
We see you now.
You're up there. Yep.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay. Well, I have the little passport books. And these were,
There we go.
there we go. Okay. You can see them. These were a really big hit this year. And we had 23 local businesses that were in this passport book. They were chamber businesses, and we provided stickers. We had little stickers for every person. Are you guys still there? I lost it.
yep.
Oh, good. Thank you. It's being a little quirky. We had these little Fat Bike Festival stickers made as well. And each business that was involved, we gave them, they had a passport just so they kind of knew like what it was people were coming to them for. We gave them like a little bag of all the stickers, and the participants were given these passports. And the point was to try and visit all 23 businesses. And there was going to be a prize for who had the most stickers in their passport book. The tiebreaker would be who spent the most money. So we asked them to take photos of each receipt of any money that they spent. And the biggest deal was on Saturday evening at the beach party that we had 10 people that had all 23 stickers in the book. So 10 people had visited every location, and they had their families with them that maybe weren't riding, but they like went in with groups. And they had spent over $300. And then the tiebreaker, it boiled down to, I had 2 people that had spent over $500. And the final winner was able to produce a few more receipts and show me, I believe it was $578 that they had spent in business. And this was on Saturday, and the event began on Friday. So pretty nice numbers. They won a basket of prizes that some business, we'd not wanted people to donate stuff this year because, struggling with COVID, a few businesses did. The Wine Shack donated a nice bottle of wine. Pelican donated items for us, and we purchased other items from businesses that were in the book so we could give a nice prize basket. So it was pretty phenomenal. Coming out of COVID, we also, the week before, we had the threat that everybody was going to go back into extreme, and we didn't know if that was going to include Clatsop County or not. So that was a little bit of like, oh my goodness. We weren't able to have the tight group events. We were going to be doing a guided ride with the club that helps maintain the Clutchie Creek trails. We did a self-guided tour for people on that instead, which worked out. But, we made the best of the situation. We provided everyone a Fat Bike Festival mask, and they were really great masks that Darwin there made for us. And boy, we had quite the turnout of people. And the most impressive thing for me when I was going through the final figures were that more than 30% of the people had come from 50 miles or more. 26% came from 100 miles, 22% from more than 200 miles. We had 2 people who lived in Cannon Beach. So people came from far and wide to be able to attend this event. And they stayed, we had numbers for hotels, vacation rentals, and campgrounds. And it was really nice to see that most people did stay locally there. We've got those breakdowns for you in your report. So overall, it was a real success. Everybody that was there, just, you know, we were one of the first events out of the gate, and, you know, coming out of COVID, and people felt really safe at the event. You know, we were all outdoors. They had families that had joined them there, and everyone that was there we're like, I can't wait to come back next year. Oh my gosh, I'm telling everybody we're coming back next year. So, you know, some of the art stuff that we had planned, we were going to do collect driftwood and things and do a beach cleanup, and then build a sculpture of a bike on the beach. It was going to be a little too close quarters. So we didn't do that this year. We'll hold that for next year, we hope, to add in some, you know, making art with collected materials. But I'd say that getting people in the businesses was huge. I mean, we had real proof that people were going in and spending. And I had people sending me photos, you know, at the wine shop, drinking wine, sending me photos saying, look, here we are, from the Mexican restaurant, sending photos, Pelican, you know, everybody was like submitting those, and really excited about being there.
Do they submit them to something, Danielle, that you can share on a Facebook or a website or something?
Need a hashtag.
Yeah, because I was like, that's awesome marketing stuff right there.
It definitely is. I can dig through the hashtags. It's
I'm just curious.
Yeah, I'm sure we could dig through some of those photos and get those for you. And
that's real-time marketing, which is awesome.
Yeah.
We do use those.
Yeah, good. I'm assuming you did. I just.
Yeah, we saw people, I mean, she mentioned this, we saw people all weekend rolling in on Friday. We had bikes parked in our little front patio area all weekend. We had bikes parked there.
Very cool.
And once they started rolling in, we were like, yep, here they are. And the weather was decent.
Yep.
It wasn't perfect. I think there was kind of a drizzly day, but it was nice enough that I don't think it stopped anybody on a bike. Yep. And then I was driving down through town and I saw bikes at Pelican, I saw bikes at Screw and Brew, and there were bikes all.
Me too. They were all over town.
It wasn't like they were just parked at the wine shack. They were all through town.
Yeah, and an interesting point for me is, you know, my office sits right on Spruce Street and I look across the Nicola. And even the week leading up to it, I start seeing more and more fat bikes that are rolling around town and people are getting out and using them. And I like to yell in the office, fat bike, just so everybody knows one's going by. So we're starting to see more and more.
Fat bikes every weekend.
Yeah.
There really are fat bikes every weekend. And it goes back to, Jim, what you talked about the first interview today was, you know, are they coming back other weeks? I can't say it's the same fat bike person that was here in March that's here in June, but we have fat bike people here every week. And I think that this event really showcases the town to another demographic. And we know this demographic has money because look at the bike that they're riding, right?
So we've created a space for locking up bikes rather than people putting them in their hotel rooms where they bang the doors, bang the walls. And we're starting to track that, people coming back because you have your code to the locked space.
Right.
So if you have been here before, you get that. And I'm curious to see what some of the larger hotels are doing because they're getting the same thing. That and they don't want people going up the elevator and
banging the door around. Yeah.
It's really targeted to that demographic. Everything that Oregon Rides does, it speaks directly to those folks. And that's a personal endorsement of an event and or a location. And with the development of Clutchie Creek, it just all adds up and accumulates.
Well, and I really like this demographic because this is a younger demographic, right? This is a younger affluent demographic. And
affluent, yes.
What we're doing is we're creating an annuity. People, these people are going to be coming back for years.
I'm happy.
Family,
that we're associating Clutchie Creek with Cannon Beach. This event. That's really important.
My first note was identify the multiplier for this group. I know like the Audubon Society is a very high order of multiplier. And not all demographics are the same at all. And this is in fact a group of people that I think can have an impact.
Right. But when we look across events, we have different demographics for each event, you know, like the beauty event is a completely different demographic, and this then Get Lit seems like a different demographic as well. So I really like that we're hitting this demographic.
A town for all seasons.
And one other thing I'd say, Jim, is you're trending in the right direction. I don't see many of these where they're down from what they asked for last year. So you're $569 less. And I appreciate that.
If you're
Make up for the food event.
Food event, yeah.
If you remember when I first brought these ideas, gosh, pre-COVID, seems like forever ago. The goal was to be 3 to 5 years self-sufficient. I know that's the way the TAC was set up, and that's what I hope to do. And this one is certainly going that way.
It's the right trajectory.
I think now with the Passport book and the success that we've seen and being able to grow that, I think sponsorships will start to follow. So
just get bigger.
I think you guys have done the same thing on your room nights. I think your room night should be 150. Because isn't this a 2-day event, 2 nights?
Yeah.
You've got 75 rooms.
Well, they didn't double it.
Double it because it's 2 nights.
yeah, it's a little bit difficult because we can't change certain metrics in the graph.
No, I think maybe you're talking about where you wrote it out, right?
You're saying our goal for attendees is
150
fat bike riders and anticipated 75 plus room nights. It's actually 150 because they stay 2 nights. I realize these are couples. Some of them are families, so it might be even lower than that, but it's more than 75 room nights for sure.
Probably.
Danielle, I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, still there. Like you've seen other bike festivals and events across the state and the country, I imagine. Where do you see the size of this going? Like where would it be too big? Where would it go? What's the
get it there?
Yes, the thing that we're going to start to see is the e-bike people. And those are the legal e-bikes for the beach that I'm referring to. That's going to be the new population that we're seeing at bike events. And they're a little bit different demographic as well. They have a little bit more money, which is always nice. And maybe they're not the super serious cyclist, but they want to get out and ride and enjoy and be part of this. So the e-bike crowd is going to be kind of the newer thing that we're going to keep building on. And as the word gets out on this event, every year we get more and more people and different people, which is great because they have such a great time. They love the event. And now with Clutchie Creek, we sent people on their own on Sunday, but next year we definitely will have like a full day of activities that we will be making sure people attend at Clutchie Creek. So that's going to bring in a mountain bike crowd as well. So that's going to dip into even more people, and we'll be able to do guided rides with the local mountain bike club that we had already spoken with and wanted to do that. We just couldn't get the permit for Clatsop County Park to do that. So next year we'll have a full day of activities on Sunday, which hopefully will make another room night as well. So we'd have a Friday night event, Saturday, and all day Sunday. People are tired after riding, maybe they'll stay another night. And then we'll be dipping into that e-bike crowd and the mountain bike crowd. So I see it building even more.
So there is a legal e-bike beach bicycle?
Pedal assist. No, throttle is not. Yeah, pedal assist is illegal, but the throttle kind that you don't have to pedal and you're just using, a thumb or a hand, those are not legal on the beach.
Okay.
So talk about affluent. Those guys, those e-bike mountain bikes, that's $5, $6, $7 grand for those suckers. And they're nasty. Those things are amazing with those.
Yes, they are. We've got one.
How long would it take us to get to 500 people? I mean, can you see 500 to 700 people being able to do this in Cannon Beach? Or is that too much?
Goal.
I don't think it would be too much because we're on the beach. So we've got, as long as we are, there's plenty of room for them to do it, and Clutchie Creek Trails can handle it. The parking out there may be an issue. I mean, maybe we'd have to deal with that, but
Stages.
they could
Ride your bike.
ride.
You have to swap them.
Shuttle.
4.5 miles.
It is. Isn't there a trail actually that connects it from Canopy? I thought,
There's also all of the logging roads back there that you,
yeah, to be built, right,
I mean, hundreds of miles.
right.
Right.
Yeah, I've heard that there might be a way to get from Cannon Beach proper out to the Clutchie Creek Trails by
To be
bike.
built?
What's that?
That's to be built. It's supposed to be put through. Because we asked this question when we had Evergreen, everybody in, about how you're going to connect to Coochie.
That's a future.
Right.
That was-
There's a way to get here, from here to there, right? Yeah. Okay.
How many people did you guys have for 2019? Before we closed down, was it 78 or something?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
I like this one.
I do too.
But I'm just curious of what it looks like at 150, 300, 500.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
some point, maybe it's too big and what is that sweet spot? And you go to like in Bend, when the cyclocross nationals were in town,
Right,
people came from all over the country to go to that,
right.
but it never felt too crowded.
Mm.
You know, and it was cyclocross, different thing, but when they do the Cascade event, that is, I think they stopped that, but that was a big one.
I mean, Savor was 700 people,
Well, maybe it's
50 on the wine walk. That one, 2019, 2018? One of those years was 750 people, add bikes.
could be kind of what,
Fabulous.
I think it would feel busy
yeah,
to see 500 people on bikes
Yeah.
in the town.
be a good feeling though.
But if you've got different events where you've got people on the beach, people in town, people at Clutchie Creek.
Of course, to your point, it could be, you could have a fat bike festival in March and an e-bike festival in November, or I don't know, I'm making this up, in another time of year.
Out to a week.
Or a week-long event, right?
Yeah.
Or 2 weekends in a row. Yeah, you could do a lot of things with it.
I'm surprised we don't have other vendors that have shown interest in like vendors.
Yeah.
Or maybe we do.
Hey, do we?
That'd be interesting.
You know,
Daniela,
Danielle would know.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Do you have any bike vendors that are showing interest in sponsoring or any sponsor vendors?
We've had fat bike companies attend in the past. This year, nobody had bikes, and so we couldn't anyone to attend. And we're seeing that kind of as an overall for all of our bike events, that the companies don't have any bikes. They've sold them all. So hopefully by 2022 we can have a difference in that. But yeah, we deal with a lot of
That'd be
bike.
cool.
And so having someone there, they love that because it gets people on their bikes. They're having the greatest time, and people are interested in maybe buying a bike, especially.
Or make, or at least place an order while they're here.
Right.
Test ride. Good ideas.
Boy, there's good potential on this.
It
stuff.
certainly is.
Yeah,
It's got legs.
a lot of good potential.
and it's fun. If you haven't done,
And it's the right kind of people, like to your point, the right kind of people are in town. People that buy things. Thank you, Danielle.
Yes, thank you.
very much.
Got pedals.
hi,
All right. Videos, Julie?
Can you give us the big picture on videos?
the big picture on videos is to support all the TAC events. We want to be able to support and provide videos to each event that TAC funding and supports. Videos are a large part of and are sought after from people viewing everything on the website when they're making decisions on where to go and what to do. So we'd like to be able to provide those. We've had some success with our videos, and we like to showcase events as they're coming up. And we just feel like this is a very important part of that. The process is a little longer. I think I've mentioned that in the past, how long it actually takes to make a video. It's not just simple shoot and you're good to go. You can do easy videos that way on your phone. Lots of people do that, but we're working with Morrissey Productions to produce high quality videos that are designed to run either a long video that really gets in depth about the event that we can host on our website, or we can create little short videos out of that we can use for social media promotions as well.
So his price has gone up, it looks like.
I was just gonna
We're
ask,
doing
is
1,500.
that why, Jim? Because it seems like the same number of videos, but the price is higher. isn't it?
Yeah, the price has gone up, and I will say this, that he's actually giving us quite a discount. The price he's been working with us for, because we continue to work with him over and over, it's probably about half of what he charges normally for a video, and the time to create those.
And these all say TBA. Do you have an estimate? Do you have something in your head that you're thinking of what we should be filming this year or for next year? Sorry.
Well, they're TBA, to be determined, because it kind of depends on what you support as TAC. I really see these as supporting TAC events and then including one other video that represents Cannon Beach. This past year, we were going to do a food and dining video, but with COVID and the restrictions and everybody not having people in their restaurants, we transitioned that. So we decided, what are people doing now that they would want to see? And so we looked at Ecola Trail, the Loop Trail as the potential video. And coincidentally, at the same time, Adam Sawyer, who's a travel writer, just coming out with a book on trails in our area. So we tapped him to be the on-air personality, and we shot that this year. So it's going to cover the Loop Trail, which is probably the most hiked trail in Ecola State Park. We also try to get some shots of the new trail that they just burned from parking lot to parking lot. And we really want to showcase that as something to do when you come to town.
That's from last year's ask.
Yes,
Correct?
yes. And we're working on finalizing all the asks too. Because the timing the timing worked out a little funky for us the deadline for this was the 7th, finished that bike and we're moving into that. So I was like, put the requests in and then we'll finalize the other projects and get those turned in. So that you'll be seeing those very shortly. And of course, any funds that we don't use come back.
This year with there are a few of the COVID videos, were those coming out of these funds?
The initial COVID video I did with Sam, what came out of these funds, and we were looking to do another video, but we didn't really find a topic. And so we didn't move forward with producing that. So that'll be off the list.
Let's hope we don't need another one.
God, yes, no.
Yeah. I'm hoping that if there's any other COVID, it's like, so see ya.
So long COVID.
We're done. But I don't think that's deserving of a video.
This is an ongoing program, do we think we understand it
I think so.
enough to look at the budget request?
Yeah, we've seen this before.
No, I think that may complete our afternoon of interviews.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I would just ask if there's any subjects for the good of the order that the committee would raise. Okay.
Can I, quick reminder, so tomorrow at noon
Noon.
is our
Noon.
staff.
Noon.
And then on June
Noon.
28th at 1 PM is
Yes.
our meeting where we're gonna meet. Ashley will be probably zooming to our recommendations.
June 28th. What time on June?
June 28th at 1.
Oh, now it's at 1 PM. Okay.
That's at 1 PM.
Okay, that's at 1. That's probably where I got confused.
Definitely.
June 28th, 1 PM. Got it.
So Jennifer, you or somebody will send us after tomorrow's meeting, a little Excel spreadsheet that we can fill in and everything?
I have it actually preset, ready to go.
Oh my God, you're so efficient.
The, amount of information, the budget amounts actually available will be interesting because when we total up all the requests, they total an interesting number.
So I looked at the budget book And so it looked like.
I didn't even look at that, Jim.
Jim has the fancy number.
$494,671 of requests.
That's the ask.
We have what, 384 or 3?
No, I think it was higher than that in the budget.
Good.
Oh.
Because last time I saw that was Jim's page.
Tomorrow we'll see some because there's some overlap, some double request.
So the budget book had $400,799 and we're at $494 for S.
So we're just
First number 4.
400.
$400,799.
That's the budget,
That's what I saw in the budget book. I'll double check that too before I send this out, just to make sure, because I just peeked at the book.
please.
So it's 94,000, the ask are 94,000 over.
Higher than what we got.
Yeah.
Yes, but some of those are actually duplicated funds. When you look at some of the Galler Group applications,
Yeah.
they're covering digital social media, and there's a digital social media ask for the same dollars. That's because we're limited and cannot consider requests over the amount asked for. And if the digital social renewal is turned down, there is still some funding request in the individual two of those
To cover it.
individual events.
I gotcha. Okay.
So just beware of, the request is to consider one or the other.
Gotcha.
So we're a little
You'll
closer.
make that clear tomorrow.
Closer than we thought.
Oh, yeah. I'd like to stay out of jail.
Okay, are we done?
I believe we are done.
Okay, move to adjourn.
There's a second, third, fourth, and fifth.
Yes.
Yes.